Classic League Podcast time!
Hold it in, Xearrik. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 274 of the Classic Elite Podcast. My name is Scott. Dustin is still on maternity leave, and joining me again is our good friend Xearrik. Xearrik, what's going on, man?
Hey, nothing much. Just doing a bunch of streaming and gaming and all that same stuff as always.
Hell yeah. And I won't ask you as big of a question this time as far as what's been going on the last several years. How's the last couple of weeks been treating you?
Good.
Awesome.
Lots of good fun gaming and stuff. And I had some crazy shoulder thing going on, but that's finally starting to heal.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I knew your arm was in a sling. You feeling better?
Yeah. I didn't have to sling it up at all today.
Nice.
So.
All right. I don't know. The human body's amazing, isn't it? Like, just the fact that it gets better. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And that it gets bad somehow. I don't even understand what happened.
Yeah, well.
Like, I didn't even do anything. It just all of a sudden one day I was like, oh my God, I can't even lift my arm. What happened to it?
I know what it was. you were throwing the axe around too much.
Oh, yeah, that's what exactly.
It broke you down. All right, that's bad. Bad gaming joke. So, everybody, thank you for stopping in and checking out this episode of the podcast. This is a video game podcast. So, we'll be talking about gaming news and what we have been playing lately. So, yeah, I guess first things first. As we mentioned a couple episodes ago, our YouTube channel was demonetized. We're not 100% sure why. However, if you'd like to make sure that the podcast can still be delivered and help us out with our server fees and all that kind of stuff, you can use our Amazon affiliate links in the descriptions of the podcast and the YouTube show. So we've definitely seen a slight uptick and really appreciate that. So thank you to everybody that's been using our Amazon affiliate links. I guess the theme song's still going, so it would feel pretty inappropriate to bring up the first bit of news. So
oh yeah,
I want to talk a little bit more about how excited I am that the Cleveland Cavaliers might get swept. Did you watch basketball at all?
No.
The current
I didn't
NBA...
even know what sport you were talking about.
That's great. The current NBA playoffs feels like two villains fighting it out, where you wish both teams could lose.
Yeah,
but I'm rooting for the lesser of two evils. So, all right. Well,
maybe they'll all injure each other or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't. I just wish their fan bases could be heartbroken. Is all. I don't really want the players to get hurt.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Fans.
Yeah, just the fans. I want them all sad.
Oh, well then.
I want Steph Curry to cry, and I want all of Cleveland to cry, and then I'll be happy if that can all happen. Yeah, I don't like wishing bodily harm against people. Just a bad night for a fan base.
Some sort of freak accident with onions will go down then.
Boom. Perfect. Thank you. There you go, Xearrik. A freak accident. When I worked at a pizza shop in college, I used to have to wear goggles when I opened cutting onions.
Oh yeah.
They messed me up, man. They really. I feel like a wimp, man. I'm hypersensitive to it. If I get a whiff of a raw onion, like the waterworks come out.
Oh, that's good.
And I love cooking with onion. They're delicious. So, yeah, it's rough. What are you gonna do? Let's see here. Okay, well, I guess to get things started. Now that the theme song is done, this is a couple weeks ago that this happened, but John Bain, Totalbiscuit, has passed away. He was diagnosed with cancer several years ago and has still been putting out content since then. Then I don't know, I guess I just wanted to maybe have a moment of silence for him. I liked Totalbiscuit regardless of whether I agreed with him on something or disagreed with him on something. He was an awesome person in gaming, and I don't know. I'm going to miss him. I liked his channel a lot. I watched most of his WTF videos. So, I don't know. Xearrik, you got any thoughts about Totalbiscuit?
Yeah, it sucks a lot because he was the same thing. I've disagreed with him with a lot of different things that he'll talk about, and some of the things are weird and whatnot. But you can't really argue with the fact that he was definitely a positive force on gaming. He helped bring about and some changes. Like he was one of the driving forces that created enough controversy. You know what I'm trying to say, to push
He'd like shine
some-
the
a lot
light
of
on
different
the
shades, yeah.
the controversies that needed attention. Those are the ones that he was really good at highlighting. If it was like a game developer working with a website to do nefarious things in the market and adverse effects it could have, you know, he was really good about bringing that stuff in. There's a reason that Valve talked to him, and that'll come up later. You know, why they brought him and Jim Sterling in to try to work on what's going on with the Steam issue.
I don't really remember anyone else being like, he seemed to have headed the way, like everyone talked about it, but not really that much as vocally about the more options on consoles. Like why can't we have graphical options on consoles? So maybe he might have been responsible for that too, creating such a culture around, hey, why seriously, like, let me control what the frame rate is. And so many people might have been complaining about it, that maybe that's why Sony now, and now even Xbox, they like sometimes will have these options where you can, hey, I want more frame rate than I want graphics and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
There's all kinds of things that you can possibly throw at his feet as far as like things that he did. Then I watched the like tribute podcast that they had. Very recently. That was pretty cool. It was sad at the same time though.
Oh, I'm sure. I didn't. I probably. I was not a fan of their podcast, but I bet I would have started crying. It would have bummed me out. I bet.
His wife was the host.
I saw that
in his spot. Yeah, and that was weird. And he there was one thing I didn't like about that podcast though, is it felt like they focused too much on the negative parts of his reviews and stuff like that. Maybe coming from maybe is something I'm able to recognize a little bit more, but I could tell because I have this issue with myself where I'll talk a lot about things that I don't like while I'm playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I do my best to try to make sure that people understand that I do like the things I like, and I'll tell them about things and whatnot. Like my subscribers will notice that. And I guarantee he probably had the same thing going on. Like they were talking about, oh, well, don't worry, we'll still put things under the flame and stuff like that. It's like, I don't think that was everything he was about. Like the whole last part of that podcast that he was doing always talked about tons of different games that were coming out. They had the releases and they would bring up indie games all the time and stuff like that. I think a big part of what he himself wanted to do was actually also bring attention to good things.
I agree.
And
he treated an indie game he liked with the same reverence as a big, AAA game that he liked. He treated his coverage quite, fairly as far as what the game was. He was honest about his own biases, and he did his best to be aware of those. And so I think that goes to your point, that it wasn't necessarily about him ripping something apart was what you were there for. It was, he felt honest about his opinion on the game.
Yeah, he was brutally honest, and sometimes that honesty would be all kinds of laurels would be laid on you, and other times you get spit on.
Yeah. I remember, I think the first thing that really got me into him, where I felt a connection, was when he was messing around with different recording software, and he was talking about using DX Tori. And I was trying that out at the time, and I was like, oh, man, thank you. There's some validation on this software. It was big files, but I got better quality than I was getting with Fraps.
Cool.
So, yeah, I don't know. But, so I guess we'll pause for a second as, a little tribute to Totalbiscuit. He will be missed. Okay, so for some lighter news then, one of the coolest hardware mods I've seen in a while coming out of a 3D printer. Xearrik, somebody 3D printed an adapter to put like a real professional camera lens into the Game Boy camera. Did you ever check out?
Cool.
Go look at this Verge article, and they've got a really beautiful picture here. I'll put it in the chat for you guys. It's a really beautiful image that shows the Game Boy camera hooked up to a Game Boy Color, it looks like. But the pictures are black and white because that's what the Game Boy camera was. Hooked up to like a proper telephoto lens, and I don't know, there's like a picture of the moon, there's pictures of birds, and they're the most crisp, beautiful lo-fi pictures. It's really weird. Looks like some of the stuff that people were taking with a Game Boy camera when it came to the Eclipse, but there's actual like real good definition in I don't know, in some of these images.
Oh, there we go. I couldn't get the link up. I got it now. Oh wow, that is a massive lens. No, yeah, you're gonna get some good. Okay, yeah, you're gonna get some good quality stuff with that.
I don't know, but I know lenses that look like that usually have a comma in their price.
Yes. Though that one looks a little bit beat up.
That doesn't usually affect the price, actually. The aftermarket with photo lenses.
The optics are good on it.
It's kind of like a stereo system. If you have a good amp, people will continue to stick with them because good is kind of good.
Canon is, and I think I remember, I knew someone who really spent a long time. Well, he talked a lot about cameras and lenses and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, if I remember correctly, this was so long ago, I think Canon lenses probably retain their value a little bit better, possibly, because I think those are backwards compatible most of the time.
Yes.
Some cameras don't do that. Their lenses are fairly specific to whichever.
Sony, I believe, is one of those that has changed the connection mechanism, which has hindered its compatibility. Nokia is pretty good with compatibility, and there are little adapters that you can get that you can put on a Nokia to make it fit on a Canon, and all that kind of stuff. If there's a particular lens that you want, man, photography, you want to talk about a rabbit hole if you want to try to go down that. I was just trying to get some basics together to take pictures at cons, and holy shit, was that a rabbit hole. But yeah, the designer is Bastian Eckler, and it's a camera lens, as you had mentioned, or a Canon lens. But yeah, these are really neat images. Cool pictures of a bird and 2 photos of the moon. It's nice stuff.
Yeah. You keep in mind, they're still, by the way, for people who can't see it, it is still Game Boy quality, but it's still like, yeah.
It's the most perfect.
Yeah, it's about as good as you can get with Game Boy quality, right?
I didn't know you could get this detailed in Game Boy quality, honestly. Like,
yeah.
It's really, really cool. It feels like what people are doing with chiptune out of the video or the audio processing chip in the Game Boy. It packs way more punch than you would expect, and I'm shocked at the amount of detail that's able to be gotten out of this Game Boy camera lens. It's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so what do we have next? Do you have the show notes up? I just assume you did.
Yes, I do, and I don't understand this.
Oh, okay. I will ask in a second.
How is this? Apparently, oh no, I clipped some. Okay, I skipped one.
Let's go into what you were confused by.
Valve will stop policing what is on Steam unless it's illegal or trolling.
Yeah.
Wait, they were policing things?
You know how they okay, that's it.
Do you know how many video games they release a day?
Yeah. So,
and they're 90 million% garbage, which doesn't make sense, but trust me, somehow it works.
This was not necessarily a quality policing. I think this is coming from them removing some of those like nudie anime games, but there was some like regular non-nudie anime games that also got taken down.
So it's about whether or not it can have adult content. They're not going to be policing that. I thought they were going to police, like, they were claiming that they were like,
this is not quality. No, this is not quality.
Exploitative garbage that's just stealing people's money with manipulative misrepresentation of their games, and like, oh, your game runs at 2 frames a second. You know, you could have told me that before I purchased it.
Yeah. So they're just kind of opening the floodgates, and they're like, look. So what I think that they mean by illegal is if there's nudity, so be it. If it's not underage. And if it is somebody being overtly harassing, somebody else, then they'll look at it. Other than that, if it's not those criteria, I think they're just going to let it go and say screw it. And I've seen some pretty funny backlash on Twitter from Waypoint and Polygon and people like that, because they like authoritarian rule to protect people, and Now they're not going to get that. So I've seen them whining about it on Twitter, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, that's the biggest difference, what it seems, to like the people who are somewhere in the middle and the extreme left and right. It's for them. It's all about controlling you as much as possible.
Yeah,
like that's what they they don't believe in individual freedom. Like they don't believe in individual responsibility. Everyone is just a machine that needs to be used.
Like they know better, but other people. Hey, Brian, what's up, man?
Yeah.
You got any more Ouya news for us? I named the show last week after Brian.
Nice.
So yeah. I don't know. I don't mind Valve saying, you know what, screw it. If it's not illegal and you're not harassing anybody, screw it. Let it get flooded. I was saying way back when they were getting rid of the green light system and going into the new whatever it's called now. Remember where it could be voted on in green light, and now
I don't know what it's called now. I think what it's called now is you just give us a couple bucks and then it's on Steam.
See, I was saying you should have to put up a substantial chunk of cash that you could recoup if you behaved. So at least there's a risk if you're a dickhead.
I think it's $100 though.
Like, that's all it is. I think it should be like $5 or $10 if you've made a full video game. I don't know. Like I think $5 or $10 does not feel prohibitive to a lot of games, but it does for people that are just asset flipping and not putting any effort and clogging up with trash. I don't know any other way to filter out bad crap. You either let it all come in with a reporting system, or you make it really expensive to get on board, because otherwise, if you're trying to do moral policing stuff, no one's going to be happy. It's going to be a headache and a nightmare.
Yeah.
So I'm not that surprised, and I really don't fault Valve for taking this approach with Steam.
Yeah, like definitely I guess that's not as bad.
I don't know what to do. I mean, it's easier to make video games now than ever before, and they're a platform like.
I mean, they can pay me every week, and I'll play. Like, no, I don't have to complete them. Like, I'll play every video game released on Steam and tell them which ones can go on the Steam. Like, it's obviously we don't have to worry about offensive as far as quality. I can take care of that. It takes less than 15 minutes to figure out if a game has any kind of quality. Like, you can have a crappy, garbage, terrible looking game, but there's a difference. You know what I mean? Like, some of those games are just bad. It wouldn't take much. Like, even though there are like 20, 30, 40 games released a day now, I think, that's not that bad, right? Like 15, 20 minutes in the game and you're done. Hire 5 employees.
Yeah.
Like,
if it was that easy, I think that they would do that. I'm sure that there's more.
Maybe.
I'm just saying, like, I think it could get complicated if you try to do that and it continues to grow. Eventually you have to, I don't know, you'll have a point of no return where you've got too much invested in policing, whereas you could just let the market try to bear it out. I mean,
but they don't have to really police it. It's just a little bit of quality control.
Sure.
It's not I understand the whole authoritarian thing, right? But like
the quality control, I think, is a different conversation. That's not what they're saying.
Oh, okay. So this
really is not a quality control thing. This is this is their answer to. You know what? We don't care if we're not being moral police anymore. If this is, that's my understanding. I agree with you as far as quality checks are concerned, but I think that they may even be saying, "Screw it, whatever."
As
we
far
have a
as
refund
the content
system
of the game. Yeah, I think 100% of everything should be able to come through, even like a school shooting game. Personally, like, that's offense is just, I've said it before. I was just talking about that today in the stream because someone was asking me, saying something, but I was like, yeah, offense is just, everything's offensive. Like, you can't.
Yeah, it's gross. So I will never buy it. I won't cover it.
Don't support it.
Yeah, I'll ignore it. I will click, hide or whatever for my suggestions, and
exactly. And don't even talk about it. Just don't even talk about it. If some game came up that was disgusting for me, I wouldn't even bring it up. And then it'll just fade into obscurity. And then the few thousand people on the planet who are into that stuff but aren't going to hurt people because it's just a video game, they can experience that.
Yeah, like,
as long as it's not illegal, though.
Yeah,
there's the legal stuff, though.
You and I are lockstep on this. I can tell, right?
Because those people, when they don't, oh man, those
All right, before we get fired up, Xearrik, let's get talking about some good
we
stuff.
don't even have to talk about it.
Talk about some good stuff now.
Yeah.
I know you like Bethesda.
Yeah.
Danny O'Dwyer, who used to be at GameSpot, we've talked about him a lot on the show. He does the NoClip documentaries. Just released an 1.5-hour Bethesda documentary leading up from the start of the company to right up to now. And he has another documentary coming out about the making of Fallout 76 that just got announced.
All right. Well, that's this link. So let me go ahead and copy that and put that in my chat, because the people who are here from my stream will want to watch that. So just go ahead and open that up in a new tab and then pause it. And then
it is so good. And subscribe to him. Now he's one of those guys, Xearrik, that like politically will drive me nuts on Twitter. But if he's not talking politics, I love hearing him talk about sports. I love hearing him talk about video games, hanging out with his friends. And I love the content he produces. The dude, Danny O'Dwyer, is someone I really admire.
I'm fine with all politics,
except
for politics where they try to force me to be part of that.
Sure, yeah, I love talking about him. I don't
That's
like
it.
Yeah, I'm there with you. But it's just if you go to his Twitter, you may be frustrated. But man, he's so goddamn good, and he seems so nice and genuine. The guy does have a big heart, so or at least he comes across that way.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of those people like that are authoritarian with some of the politics. They mean well.
Yeah,
they always mean well. It's just that they have come to the realization that most people of average intelligence come to, that really so many people in the world are stupid. But but the difference is these authoritarian people are not quite smart enough to realize that just because you know you're smarter than not the entire, but a good portion of the population by having only average intelligence, doesn't mean you're so smart as to be able to micromanage millions of people. Okay?
Well,
there's a difference. So. You have to be more than Albert Einstein smart to pull that off.
Sure, but even then, everyone's different kind of thing. Yeah, I'm with you there. So, but again, that much. I regret even mentioning that sometimes he can, because I don't mind. NoClip does really good. I mean, all the documentaries have been incredible. So I know GameCuber said he just subscribed. Have fun, man. He has hours of he's the Ken Burns of video games. It's awesome.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out afterwards. And yeah, I'm not. Politics don't bother me like that.
Yeah,
with that stuff, man. I watch comedians that will make fun of political beliefs I believe in, and normally, as long as they do a good job with it, then there's something to laugh at, because everyone, because nothing is perfect.
Yep,
everything can be made fun of. Everything has flaws.
And speaking of making fun of, how much fun or lack thereof of Mega Man 11 in October do you think we'll be making?
I think it might be good.
I think it's going to be good too.
You know why?
Why is that?
I played Monster Hunter World, and I'm
okay.
I feel like Capcom is down a path of redemption with that game. It is the gift that keeps on giving. They released another monster just recently. And in a few days, they're about to release a whole new tier of monsters with 2 new ones released at this. And I haven't paid an extra $1 for any of this content. The only content that exists is these really fancy, awesome looking dances and emotes that you can shoot Hadouken fireballs and stuff. But and like I said, I'm really jealous of those emotes. I wish I could have them. I haven't bought any yet.
It was cool that we got to talk about Cool Bay or whatever the last episode, and then last week I got to watch you actually fight that boss. Monster Hunter 11 looks, I was surprised at the agility that you have in that game.
Mega Man.
It was a faster Dark Souls to me. I thought from the older stuff that I had ever watched from Monster Hunter, it seemed more laborious. All the Pro Jared videos, I love his videos. But watching his Monster Hunter videos didn't make me want to play Monster Hunter. Watching your video actually did make me interested in playing Monster Hunter.
I bet you I know what the biggest difference is, even if you didn't look at it. I mean, if you weren't conscious of what was going on, the thing that makes it seem faster and to the thing, because I've seen a few Monster Hunter videos.
I've got a guess.
I never played it.
I've got a guess. I want to hear what you have to say.
I don't think it's the combat as much as it is there's no loading once you're loaded. The zones, you don't transition.
Oh, no, I meant the combat. Just straight the combat looked
really?
More quick. And, like, you had verticality, which I had never really seen before. And
part of that is the whole zone being there, I would think, right? Because like when you're fighting the monster, normally what was supposed to happen in the older games, even though I haven't played them, I've seen a little bit of them, is that you fight them and then they'll move, they'll fly away or they'll run away sometimes, or things like that. And then so it's like we're doing the fight, we're having fun. Okay, hold on, let's go to the next area. Load screen, console, non-solid state load screens, mechanical hard drive load screens. Yeah, those were much slower combats, I would think.
Yeah, I don't know. Just Monster Hunter World was very, very impressive. So I think that you're fair in having some faith in Capcom on this one.
Yeah, they've really. I was boycotting Capcom for over a decade. So like they've really like this game was like, I was like, oh, finally they're releasing a Monster Hunter game on something other than an obscure console
or handheld.
Right? And I'm like, yeah, like, thank you. Let's see. And sure enough, like, it was awesome. Like, and then they're being so generous. Like, part of it was the press. Like, I thought, I was thinking that it was a good chance that they were just trying to get more sales by being anti what everyone hate. Well, being anti the thing that everyone hates at the moment, which was like loot boxes and power gaming through that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, at least they could just not say anything, but they're taking a stance against it. They're saying, and the biggest point was they said that they felt it would ruin the quality of the game because the progression of the game is built around the loot and whatnot. It would be like having loot boxes in Diablo, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what came in my mind as you're describing it.
So you Monster Hunter is all about crafting all this stuff. You get all the materials you need to craft the things, and there's this big ordeal. And if you take that away, there's nothing left.
Yeah, I mean the feedback loop is that game. I'm weak, now I'm strong. I win, I learned.
Yes.
So, okay, to bring it back to my last question about Mega Man 11, though, is what's your thought on them taking a different approach to the art style? It didn't look like a Mega Man X, but it looked honestly a little bit more like a step of progression from like Mighty Number 9's graphics. Does that make sense?
I know.
2.5D.
People. Yeah, someone said, I've heard a lot of other people say that to compare it to Mighty Number 9's graphics. I think you just compare it to all polygonal 2D games, right?
Sure, yeah, that's absolutely fair.
Like that's what it is. It's just they decided to not use sprites, and so this is what it looks like.
Yeah. So what's
your
reaction to that then?
Night, not the 2D pixel one that they just released, but the new one, it looks a lot like Mighty Number 9, but it's not as colorful, right? Because
that's
Mega
a great
Man
comparison
is a colorful game. I think that most 2D games most Polygon 2D games are going to look the same, depending on.
So does that mean with Mega Man 11, you do not care about that aesthetic at all?
I don't think it's going to age as well as pixel art would, but I'm willing to play it. So I think it'll be fine for current time when it releases. I think it's going to look fine. It's going to be fun.
Sure.
I think it's going to age poorly though, most likely.
The gameplay might not, but
might not look as nice.
Yeah, the looks probably will, but I'm with you. I'm optimistic the game will be fun enough that it won't matter necessarily what it looks like.
Yeah.
Honestly, if Mega Man wasn't that fun, we wouldn't think that it looked all that great, would we? Like,
it's not an amazing looking game,
but it looks good.
But
it's so damn fun.
Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say it's not amazing looking. I should say it's nothing about it stands out visually.
I like the color palette, like things like that. I don't know.
It's bright and colorful, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people say that Mega Man 11 visually is mimicking that game. I don't think so. I think Mighty Number 9 is mimicking Mega Man. Like, I think that's my best way to say it. They mimicked Mega Man, which meant, but they wanted polygons instead of pixel art. So what happened was bright, colorful looking robotic things in the polygons. So that's why they look so similar.
So, yeah, I'm with you there. Next up, PUBG is going to try to sue Epic and or Fortnite or whatever in South Korea.
They are so stupid.
I'm just, I know nothing about Korean copyright law, so I don't know. Are they stupid? Maybe. I'm fascinated by this because in America, I wouldn't stand a chance.
Yes, they are stupid. And I don't even care even if they win because it's in Korean court or something like that. They're still stupid. They're going to destroy. They better rename their company. Like they're going to they are destroying themselves PR wise. Like if they keep up all this crap, they can destroy themselves. Look what Konami did. It wasn't just about the quality of the games. It was about how they treated people. It was about what they said and things like that.
Yeah.
And really, PUBG doesn't make, those people who made that game don't make good games. Like they made a really terrible game in an extremely niche market that had almost no competitors. It's still very terrible. Like there's nothing unique about it. There's zero unique. Everything that they claimed was unique. A frying pan as a weapon. Oh my god, that's never happened before. Except it's happened all the time.
Sure, like, but I guess like, so let's take the court out of it for a second. You know, like we're not looking at it legally. Yeah. The games do still have very distinct differences between PUBG and Fortnite. Again, I'm not talking about legally or anything like that. Like nothing like that. I'm just talking about they feel different enough that I guess even in another country where I don't know about the copyright law, I don't see how they're going to make the claims enough. And to what brought the thought up is when you were talking from the PR perspective alone. Like why it's there's a big enough space for both of those games, I feel.
Agreed.
And PUBG, like those people love that game because of the things like the longer matches, the I don't know, some people say there's more tension because of that or whatnot. Where Fortnite, you're in, you're out, like it's real, quick turnover and all that kind of stuff. It sounds like League of Legends versus Dota almost in that way. But
yeah, they're very different games.
So I totally agree with you. Why would they go and look like complete jerks to the people that already love them enough? Like, you're right. It is greed. It's
the same as those people who frivolously lawsuit other things that they patent every word and every freaking thing they can possibly think of, and then they sue them. They're suing them because they think they can. They think they get a cut of all that Fortnite money. That's what
I don't know. This sound. While I don't disagree with that, I do feel like there's a hefty bunch of sour grapes in this recipe and this cocktail of.
They did say that. They said that they believed Fortnite was a carbon copy of their game. Like the building mechanics alone make it drastically different than Fortnite. I mean, than PUBG. Like that alone, like they're legally they have zero to stand on because even if it was exactly like PUBG, exactly no building mechanics, no anything, it played just like it. It had the same sort of things. It said winner, winner, chicken dinner. It did everything. Every unoriginal thing that PUBG does, it did all of that, except with new art assets and new code.
They would lose in America.
Copyright law.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. But we're Americans. So that's why I'm curious to see how it goes over there. Now, South Korea is, I can't imagine that their copyright is closer to China's than it is to ours. I would think they're closer to ours. But we'll see.
I seriously doubt that they allow you to patent
broad things. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Well, broad things, yes, you can, but there's still a little bit of limitation to it. It would be like patenting
platforming.
Any sport that has round balls.
Yeah,
like that is.
No, you're right. It's silly.
If it would be like. If they win in Korea, then
things get weird. Things just get weird.
why doesn't at that point like EA needs to sue Activision?
Yeah,
because like what is this
And
Call
let
of
it-
Duty crap?
I was gonna say, yeah, with
Huh?
Battlefield and all
It's
that.
an
So
FPS game. Like, and then after that's successful,
get
the
it
people
in
who
there.
made freaking Doom and
I was gonna say, get
Wolfenstein
in.
need to sue them too.
Yeah,
Like,
so.
what the hell?
Yeah, I'm with you.
There's more difference between there's less difference between Battlefield and Call of Duty than there is Fortnite and PUBG. Like,
I don't know enough to comment on that.
Battlefield does have the destruction. You can destroy terrain and stuff like
And
that.
it's not as close
It's-
quarter combat, like, but
it's-
they feel different the way that I don't know. I guess they feel different the same way that those feel different. But anyway, so we'll see how that goes. But would you start playing Fortnite to try to get into this $100 million?
No.
$100 million prize pool. Boy, does that grab attention.
What is it? Does it involve skill? Is it a lottery or is it like skill?
It's skill.
You have to do some. Oh, then no. I know what it takes. Like I said, I've done competitive gaming before. Like I've won some tournaments and whatnot.
I was gonna say, what was that?
Back when they were even in real life. Like that's back when I did it, and then I did a few online things too. I've won like the very first world freaking competition for like Warhawk and things like that, and I've done that stuff. I know what it takes. What it takes is your life. You don't. If there's some.
$100 million.
Yeah.
If you play enough, like you're gonna probably win some cash.
I'm not the only one who knows that though. Every competitive gamer really knows that it takes your life. What you do is you don't play because you're enjoying it. You play 8 to 12, 16 hours a day, and that's all you do. You don't play anything else. You play that. Hey, are you having a little bit of trouble with this one button press that you're trying to do when it comes to this very specific thing? It's really stupid. You just need to walk around this wall, this particular wall, on this particular level. You have to walk around that wall a little bit better than you have been, and it involves some jump that you, for some reason, are flubbing. We'll spend 8 hours straight one day going up and down and around that wall.
Sure.
And meanwhile, if it's an online game, then everyone's killing you nonstop. But all you're doing is going up and down and around that wall until the next time you come up to that wall without thinking, without anything, you're up and down and around that thing. And the only thing that you were thinking about is 20 moves ahead of your opponent and not about how you need to move in the environment and things like that.
Okay, so yeah, obviously a small pool of people are going to be skilled enough to actually get substantial chunks of this. However, here's an angle I haven't heard people talk about that much, and I'll be curious on what your thoughts are. Does a prize pool this big, I mean, $100 million is an outrageous sum of money. Does that give some sort of credibility to video games in terms of the general consciousness? Is because
there always has been. It's
with
just
the Michael Jordan of Fortnite, because there's the potential for someone to win $10 million this year, right? I mean, I don't know how they're going to break it out, but let's say someone wins $10 million just playing Fortnite because they're so much better than everybody. Does that give the, people going, well, of course there's pro hockey players, of course there's pro video gamers, where, I don't know, I feel like we have not hit that threshold at all from a general public consciousness. Does this kind of prize pool do that, or is it just going to get headlines and that's it?
No, the public isn't going to. The general public isn't going to care. You either like the video games or you don't. But as far I think it's always been there. Like, it requires the same amount of dedication and skill and as any other sport. But
nobody.
Like I said,
everybody,
I just explained what it takes to be the best.
You
I
did,
just told you that.
But nobody was impressed by that before. They always just thought it was a loser in the basement. Well, they're
not impressed by it because they haven't. These people aren't going to ever be impressed by it because they're not doing it themselves. Gamers will be impressed by it, but think about someone who's never, like, the reason why people can be impressed by athletic skill is because they at some point have tried to run in their life. They at some point have tried to throw a ball somewhere. Sure. And I think that's the thing. Like, they understand the skill that's required to do these amazing things that is happening, and maybe not completely, but they understand enough to see what they're seeing is amazing feats of strength and dexterity.
Yeah.
But these same people, they've never picked up a controller and tried to play a video game, so they don't understand that maybe their kid plays a video game, or some nephew of theirs plays a video game, and like, oh, my nephew's pretty freaking good at video games. No, the amount of dedication and skill needed to be the best of the video games is no different than any other competitive thing.
That's correct. So will the public perception about that change from it's impressive if someone makes it to a pro athlete in basketball or baseball or football or whatever, right? My mom would not be impressed if I knew a guy that won, a big Fortnite tournament or whatever. But with this kind of money behind it, maybe she'd be like, oh, that's pretty.
You know what? That's a convincing argument that you could, if you say, but they made this much money, right? That then they'll be like, well, there's a real life equivalent there, though, again, because they understand the value of money, right? Your mother understands the value of money. She might not.
And pro athletes are paid millions.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know. I'm selfish because I do a video game podcast, so obviously I'm hoping that that's the case. That's why I asked the question. I want it to be legitimized, even though it's a game I'm not interested in.
I didn't think it was going to have any effect, but pretty convincing argument. I didn't think about that. People do understand the value of money, so maybe they might not understand the level of skill that's required for the game. But if you're paying someone $100 million, kind of a thing, then maybe they'll be like, well,
damn, it must be good.
It must be pretty freaking impressive, right? They're not going to give anybody $100.
Yeah. So,
but then part of it still, I think, it still has to be watchable, right? And
that's a whole nother conversation. Absolutely.
And even people who play video games can't watch some video game sports.
I can't watch Overwatch.
They don't get it.
I have no idea what's going on.
So imagine someone who doesn't play video games trying to understand. Like, you can watch basketball, and even though you've never watched a game of basketball in your life, you're like, oh, I get it.
100%. Yeah, that's the major issue that esports have. That, and they allow people to have really dumb names, but the fact that it's, I feel like Dota is not very interesting, but at least you understand it in the way you do football or chess. Like chess, like, they're got a lot of pieces gone, or in football, they're about to score. At least with Dota and League and Heroes, stuff like that, you can visually see top down what's going on. I was at a con this weekend, and I was having this conversation with somebody, and I said, man, I really, because in the game room I was working, we had an Overwatch League playing. And I said, I have no idea what's going on. I really wish that there was like a top-down view. And the immediate reaction from the person that I was talking to was like, hell no, that's a really bad idea. I'm like, I don't know another way to ingest this game. It just looks like craziness to me.
I don't think that would be a bad idea. I think that was probably just an instinctual reaction. I bet you if they experienced it, it would be good for them. But I don't know if it should be exactly top-down kind of a thing. But I think that when they make
I don't want first person.
No first person, not even just third person that follows the camera.
Oh, yes, I agree.
Follows the person. Exactly. I think the camera for competitive gaming needs to be detached from the people.
Yes. Like it is in football and basketball. You're not on the court,
and they have a person controlling it.
Yeah,
right? They have an announcers that are talking about what's going on, but they also have someone who's in control of moving things around where they need to move.
Yeah.
And because imagine imagine any sport in first person view.
It's neat for 2 seconds, while they're in between plays.
No matter whatever your favorite sport is, if anyone's listening to this and you have a favorite sport, imagine it in first person view, and then you'll be like, oh wait, you know what? Maybe we should try it out, like a different view. I think that all these games that have that sort of gaming, that are intended from the ground up to be competitive, they should design them with a built-in thing that they can use to sportscast, right?
A real spectator mode or caster mode or something. Yeah.
And where the camera is like, it has all these different angles, right? But what the primary angle would be depending on would be a asymmetric, I think where it is. Where is that what it's called? Where they tilt it?
Yeah, like Diablo and whatnot. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
asymmetric.
Yeah, and that would be the primary angle. And then, like, if you design it with that in mind, then you can make it so that
I feel like you can put
terrain is transparent that they're under, right? Semi-transparent
Yeah, like-
terrain and things like that.
it feels like an egg that can be cracked. That would be a general template that would make a lot of games pretty good to watch, regardless of the genre, whether it's Rocket League, a first-person shooter, a MOBA. There's got to be a template out there that can work for the general guts of watching these things the way that there are tweaks to basketball and football, but they really are presented in a similar way.
Yeah, and with the gaming, you can make it so much better because you got so much control. Like, imagine
take the golf
yeah.
guys approach, with gaming.
Yeah. Like, imagine an amazing move where the announcer's like really, he's like, oh, and he's announcing what happened, right? And then you're seeing it from a little bit of a distant view. And then as soon as the announcer's all happy, the goal or whatever they do in soccer, right? But all he has to do is press a button or two, and then instantly you see the replay. But you don't see the replay from just that view. You see it from maybe first person or third person, and then it'll, like, when the shot goes off and the guy dies, maybe it'll freeze for a second and zoom out. Who knows? You could have all these really cool visual effects.
They have really good sports producers in real life. I totally agree, man. There's got to be something there that I'm not smart enough to do it, I don't think.
Yeah, but as far as the general gameplay, but when there's nothing extremely exciting going on, I want the camera pulled out.
Yes, very much so. So, all right, man. Well, let's move on to talk about Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. Have you played this at all?
No, because I'm going to stream it, so it's been tearing me up. I
can't wait to watch your stream. Those I will absolutely. I'll watch every second of that.
Cool.
It's great, man. Oh, it's good.
And maybe I'll play it after I beat Vampire. I've been playing another vampire game.
I am on my second playthrough right now. I guess I will say that there are 3 different modes you can unlock by playing the game differently.
Yeah, it's cool that it's exciting enough and good enough for you to replay it right away.
Right.
I like that.
So, you know what? It's not that big of a spoiler. I feel like it's been out there quite a bit. So
2D games are really hard to spoil.
So the first time you play through, you meet party members, and so you can switch between them like you do in Castlevania 3. That's a lot like what this game is like. So once you beat that, then you unlock Nightmare Mode, where you don't have your main character, but you still have the other 3, and so now you play the game down one guy. To unlock the third way is you go back and you play the game normally through the normal mode, but instead of picking up a party member, you kill them. And you absorb a new power from them. And then in the third playthrough, you have all these powers that you gain from... It's fucking awesome, dude. Like,
that sounds awesome.
You get an Alucard, like, Swift thing. That seems like a nod to Symphony of the Night. You get this jump sword thing. You get a double jump. It's like... It's so rad. And you got to play through the game to unlock all these cool features. And man, Inti Creates is just... Are they my favorite developer right now? Everything they've touched on in Switch has been just gold.
Man, and that sounds like a bad guy playthrough too. That's a tempting bad guy playthrough. I've always said that I don't really ever have a hard time not being a bad guy when I play video games. And my thing, the little joke, is that the only thing that would really tempt me is inventory space. Okay. But that does not tempt it all. The double jump. Like, I love me some inventory space. Like, if Skyrim or Fallout was tight, like, the only way to get extra inventory space was to just murder babies, all the babies would be dead. But double jump is also extremely attractive.
Yeah, man. In a Castlevania game. But you still have the hard knockback. It still has the same fit. It's really... Man, it's great. It's really, really fun. I'm very excited for you to play it.
Vepper says, I'll watch Hello Kitty. Oh, Vepper, I didn't know that was you because I wasn't reading my look at avatars time or avatars. And if Vepper does indeed, it's finally loaded. Vepper said he made a new avatar just because of me.
Awesome.
And yep, it is apparently he's got a custom avatar made of a rabbit holding a AK and giving me the finger or something. It's hard to see any kind of finger, but I do see the rabbit and the AK.
Oh, I do see a rabbit and an AK. Oh,
Yeah,
maybe a little finger there.
It's an inside joke.
But yeah, awesome, man. Curse of the Moon. Go. It is well worth $10. It's on Steam. I'm playing it on Switch. I think it's on PS4 and 360 or Xbox One as well. It's great stuff, man.
That's cool, and it's a prelude to another game coming out, and that's awesome. And I got it for free. Well, not for free technically.
Well, it got tacked on.
I paid quite a bit extra for the game, so I suppose it's not free. But
I liked this so much that even if Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is mediocre, I'm absolutely buying it day one. I'm pre-purchasing it. I want to dive into this Castlevania stuff. Like now, I want to do an exploration. I want to do a Symphony of the Night style game.
Is my name in the credits of that game?
Curse of the Moon? I didn't look for it.
Like it will be in Bloodstained?
Probably not, because Inti Creates did it and not Ega Studio.
Maybe.
But maybe it is. I don't know. I see the credits roll and then I just walk away. Because one time, I forget what game it was, I got an achievement for watching the credits. So even on Nintendo, I let it roll all the way through.
My stream hates it sometimes because I beat God of War.
That's a long credit scene.
Yeah, 30 minutes, over 30 minutes, a little bit less than 35, somewhere in between 30 and 35 minutes was how long it took before those credits ended. And that was a really tough moment in that stream. Chat was there, and I was talking with chat, and I was like, "Is this gonna ever end? Please, just end."
So yeah, Bloodstained Curse of the Night or Curse of the Moon, go get it. Also, I wanted to mention real briefly, Xearrik, have you tried the Steam Link app on Android at all? Like you ever want to
Steam Link?
No, it's an app on you have an Android phone, don't you?
Yeah, so you can use.
It's just an app, and it turns your phone into a Steam Link, and it's developed by Steam. The reason it's not on Apple is because you can purchase, video games through it because it's just streaming Steam, and Apple doesn't get a cut of that, so Apple won't approve the app. But on Android, you can, and it just streams. It needs to be a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi signal, but it'll stream in it. You can use an Xbox 360 or PS4 controller or whatever with your phone and stream to your bedroom or whatnot.
That sounds amazing, but seriously, how dare Apple think they deserve a cut of Steam's games?
Right?
Like, that is such a garbage, greedy thing. Like, you're getting the cut of the freaking app itself. Just shut up and stop whining.
Well, the app is free, and will remain free, but
it doesn't matter. Like, it'll attract people. Like,
amen.
Guess what?
You're preaching to the choir. Apple, shut up. Like,
if I needed me a Steam Link and I was torn between which type of phone I was gonna buy, it'd be Android. That would be a decision maker for me as someone who enjoys games, and if I needed a Steam Link, you know?
So I use it on a Nexus 9, which is a shitty Android tablet that should have been great, but it was terrible, and it worked great. And I also use it on my phone that's a Pixel, which is a great phone, and it worked awesome. So, Steam Link on Android, give it a try if you want to play your video games in your bedroom or whatever. Or if your significant other or roommate or whatever wants to watch TV and you want to play something, you can. And it works great with the Steam controller, I guess. But I had no problems with the Xbox One controller.
DIVX is always making me laugh in chat. He's getting better at that. He's understanding me.
He said apparently the whole world worked on.
Yeah, the whole population worked on God of War 4.
Hey, Pearl Plans, good to see you. Alex, Vepper, Brian Trusty.
Yeah. Alex is still waiting for his check.
And Jim Kickass Gamer, good to see you, man. Forgot to give you guys shout outs earlier. So yeah, that's cool. And then one last cool thing before we talk about what we've been playing is one of my favorite YouTube channels, Retro RGB, Bob at retrorgb.com. Is hardcore about old retro video games and getting the best signals possible. But he did an interview with this company called Parsec Gaming, Parsec. And what this is, it's really similar to like a peer-to-peer streaming service that lets you play local co-op games online. And it's an app that handles that I don't understand the technology behind it, but it's better than trying to do like some screen share sort of a thing over a network.
Is it better than NVIDIA's? NVIDIA does the same thing.
I don't know, but I do not know.
I tested it out with Taste and it works. It wasn't super great, but we tested it pretty early on in its life, where you can play 2-player games with a NVIDIA graphics card.
Okay, well, so this is supposed to be more like for retro games and stuff. If you're going to play like on an emulator and whatnot.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
but I'm going to have a link in the description to their site, Parsec Gaming. I believe they got a beta app right now that you can download. It's free. And there's also an interview that I'm going to link as well. I feel like we're getting closer, Xearrik. Like the dream of not having to worry about Nintendo's online infrastructure, but we can just play Super Spike V-Ball together. That's the dream, right?
Yeah. Oh man. That's the thing that really tempts me on the Switch, but I'm holding out. I refuse. I want more than 30 gigs. Screw that.
Fair enough.
Upgrade it. They even have an excuse now. People hack their hardware. Upgrade it.
They did. That's an excellent point. You might as well now, right?
Yep. Throw at least 100 gigs in there. I'll be dissatisfied, but it'll be enough for me to at least buy it.
Isn't that hilarious? Even 100 gigs. Like, that's such a... The 360, that was unacceptable at the end of the life cycle. But Here we are. So, all right, man. Well, let's talk real briefly about the YouTube channel of the week.
Oh, there is more news, possibly. I think it's fake.
Oh, okay. Let's
But here,
let's talk rumors.
I totally forgot about that. Check that out.
The Sony PlayStation press conference. That looks like a legitimate leak.
Yeah, but two parts of it make me think it might be fake. PlayStation, it says play PS2 and PS3 games on PS4 trailer. I don't know. PS2 and PS3 games? Really?
Maybe it's the more robust version of the PS Now. They're streaming, maybe. So it's not even going to emulate on the system.
Yeah, I feel like the notes would say stream PS2 then, maybe.
That's a good point.
It could.
Hey, Microsoft, thank you very much for that. Especially if I can get some... Man, I just want Tiger Woods so badly. I want to play an old, real Tiger Woods game.
We'll see E3.
Maybe. I don't want to buy a PS2. Maybe. I want to play my Tiger Woods 2004 on or Lord of the Rings, Two Towers. I love that game.
Yeah. So, there was one other thing on it that makes me fake. It says Kingdom Hearts 3 launch trailer. There's no such thing. There's never going to be a Kingdom Hearts 3.
No.
So
Half-Life 3 would be more believable.
Pepper said fake news. Yeah, they might as well throw that in there. Half-Life 3
console exclusive.
Yep.
Jinx out of you, Beyond Good and Evil 2 gameplay, Final Fantasy 7 remake launch trailer, blah blah blah. We'll see. Ooh, Snake Eater remakes potentially. I think Dustin likes Snake Eater, if I remember. Was that the 3DS one?
Oh, that PS3. I mean, sorry, PS2, PS2, and PS3.
There was a handheld one he really liked.
I think it might have been on handheld too. Okay. But it originally released on PS2, I believe, and it was Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. It was a great game, and it doesn't have the full title in there, which also makes me think maybe that's a thing. That's the thing that you bring that up. I notice it doesn't say 3. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to say Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater remake.
But if this was an intern putting the thing together as well,
maybe.
I don't know. But I keep forgetting it is E3 season. Yep. It's like it's hype. It's all speculation, fun stuff. I like that Giant Bomb, they do a predictions podcast and they release it after the conference. So they can you know better than they do while you're listening. And that way also it prevents them from, being accused of leaking or having inside info or anything like that. So
yeah. Snake Eater, by the way, was the one with the giant ladder. If you've seen or played it, there's a ladder that is like a 5-minute long ladder climb in the game, and you just it's funny. Because the map of the game is like it's real. It doesn't like just teleport you around kind of a thing. It does load and all that, but it has an actual design to it.
Okay.
So you're supposed to get to the top of this mountain thing. Well, you climb for quite a long time to get up there.
It's like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, you just start climbing, and it starts as soon as you start climbing. It's tink, 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 and you're just going, and you look up, and it looks endless, and then all of a sudden you hear, "What a thrill!" Like I said, what happened? With darkness and I'm like, wait, what? Hold, what? It'll just do these really long pauses, like
really,
but then yeah, and then it'll do that. It'll say like the first or second chorus. It'll go all the way, and then it'll just pause again and say, "In searching and blah blah," and I'm like, "What is that?" And then next thing you know, the music comes on, and it's like going all out. Snake it on. It's like going crazy with it.
I've never played a Metal Gear game. I really need to.
And so yeah, you got this epic
absurdity
song going on, and all you're doing is just climbing a damn ladder. And if you stop climbing, the song stops.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. So, all right. Well, so for YouTube channel of the week this week, I'm going to have to go with a backup here because I forgot to watch some of Dustin's recommendations. So the first guy I want to mention, or I guess the only guy this week I'm going to mention, is Arcus, Arcus. And he's a speedrunner on YouTube and is really entertaining. And he did a Ninja Gaiden speedrun that blew my mind. Ooh. So I want to feature him this week. So Arcus, check out his Ninja Gaiden speedrun. I don't know, he's just a nice guy that speedruns.
Yeah, I like to watch speedruns every once in a while. I'm not interested in ever doing them ever because I think it doesn't. I just don't like it. I don't.
I'm
like
with you.
I like to just look. Okay.
I like to watch people when you're good at shit.
When you're enjoying a fine, delicious meal, you don't just gobble it down.
That's true.
Like, you gotta savor it. You savor it.
But you want to see how that chef made it. You know, you want to see the inside scoop, have some layers peeled back, then, go watch a speedrun, you know?
Yeah, mostly the best thing about watching speedruns is just watching them break the game.
Just how good they are at that stuff. Like, just frame perfect hits and...
Yeah, and most of the breaks, lots of the breaks of the game are frame perfect things. Like, you got to do something ridiculous. And then the game's broken, and it knocks off a few hours off your speed run. So,
that just reminds me. Oh, what's that YouTuber's name? Second something. Oh, they just released an amazing Summoning Salt.
Speaking of broken games, huh?
Yeah, Summoning Salt. Summoning Salt. There's a YouTuber. I'm featuring two this week. Summoning Salt. We may or may not have featured them before. He does documentaries on speedruns, and just 2 days ago released.
That's interesting.
He just released a documentary on the history of Mario Kart 64's Choco Mountain track. But he's also done the Metroid speedrun progression, and he talks about like the first person that did it, and then walks you through like all the different iterations of what trick was figured out to do something even faster. He did Super Mario Brothers 3, Donkey Kong. I
believe
a bunch of cool stuff.
I believe professional speedrunners put bounties on tricks and stuff too, right? Don't they? Like they'll be like, I'll pay someone to find out how to do this thing. Like I did this thing on accident. I can't duplicate it. This is reward money for someone can figure out how to duplicate it. If someone can figure out how to duplicate it, things like that I think happen.
Gotcha. I've heard of that. I would say that my favorite one, or I shouldn't say my favorite, the video of his that got me hooked was he did the history of Super Mario Brothers' most infamous level 4-2. And like how that, that's the warp to level 8 level. How that changed over the years and why it was so critical to the speedrunning records of Super Mario Brothers. It's really great. Like, man, YouTube is so cool. So much neat stuff on it. World record Donkey Kong 64, Legend of Zelda. He's on Mike Tyson. He did Half-Life 2, the new engine. He's on Mega Man 2.
Yeah, it sounds nice. So, be sure to link it. Okay,
absolutely.
What's it called again?
Summoning Salt.
Summoning Salt.
Yes. So Arcus.
I guarantee some Dark Souls stuff in there.
right. So that's what had me tripped up. I'm like, I'm talking to Xearrik. Why is Dark Souls in my mind? Or that's why I'm confused on what this YouTuber is. But Arcus is the Ninja Gaiden guy that does speed runs, and Summoning Salt does documentaries on speed runs, and they're awesome. So go check that stuff out. All right, Xearrik, let's talk about what we have been playing, and then we will call it a show. Oh, no, we got comments, and then we'll call it a show. So, what do you want to get to first? You want to talk about a little bit of God of War, kind of follow up what we did a couple of weeks ago and clean it up? Okay.
Yeah, because I was about to ask you before the stream, but I stopped it mid-thought, and that was... Yes, how do you feel about those Valkyries?
They can sit on a spike. Even on easy, they're bullshit. Like, I have to grind to beat them.
Down to easy to, yeah. That's because I was talking to my stream about them again because
they're cheap.
Something else in Horizon Zero Dawn was reminding me of that, where you could tell like a different person worked on it, because it's not whatever the design philosophy behind those Valkyries, whoever was behind that has nothing to do with any of the other creatures in the game.
Yeah,
even the bosses, everything in the game works differently. But it feels fair. You died. Well, you died probably because you didn't do a good job. And Valkyries,
That's
it's
fair.
like, oh, you died? Oh, you probably died because for some reason they did an unblockable attack that just didn't show the ring this time, or some other random cheatsy crap.
Well, yeah, you got stuck against geometry that you're trying to back away from, and then they come up and do whatever, the big circle. It just... And the only reason I'm putting myself through it is because I haven't unlocked that last tier of like my blades or whatever. Oh shit! One of my weapons I haven't. Sorry.
Yeah,
I haven't upgraded all the way. I haven't unlocked all the way, and I need one item from being this one Valkyrie to get it. And then I will feel like I've completed the game from what I want to do, and I'm having a hell of a time with it.
You don't have to beat the Valkyries to upgrade that, so you can just skip the Valkyries.
I'll yeah, okay, then maybe
look it up. I know what you're talking about.
I did, and I thought I needed to beat a Valkyrie to get it.
I had my weapons fully upgraded by the time I fought the Valkyries fully.
Oh, okay.
So all of them.
I will have you give me a tip afterwards then.
Yeah, you might have to look it up because I can't quite remember where I found it, but
okay.
I was told that what I did, you couldn't originally do when the game first came out. That they changed their mind and moved the thing that you would get from the Valkyrie somewhere else or something like that.
Oh.
And that way you could do it before you had to kill all the Valkyries.
Dude, that's great. That's good news. So outside of the post game stuff not being as much fun as I was hoping. Holy crap, did I absolutely love everything up to the ending credits. And I will say that there's a very long credit sequence, but a beautiful one from the main campaign. And then there is, if you want to Google it, there's a...
Uh-oh. I can't hear you. Okay, there you go. I can hear you again.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. So there is a kind of a hidden little secret ending thing that you can look up as well. That's also very neat. I
gotta put that down to Google that afterwards.
Yeah, see if you have done it or not.
God of War secret.
But I've seen the credits twice, and I loved it. God of War is just a fun video game. It's just
I did that. I did that thing.
Okay.
Going to that place and then doing a thing, and then a long time later, kind of a thing, right? That kind of thing happens.
Yeah, dude. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's ending 2. It's not super secret. Like it was in Forbes as a main article today.
It's less of an ending and more of a teaser.
Yeah,
for another game.
Yes, and that's why it's hidden away brilliantly. It just, you know, the thing that I liked about God of War is the fact that even though I'm struggling with the Valkyries right now and I feel underpowered and whatnot, I had no problem getting through the game at my own pace, doing whatever I wanted to do. I really loved the narrative. I bought into the story. I really enjoyed how it ended. There was a little bit of dialogue that I'm glad I understood at the end that made a really cool twist in my mind. I don't know. I liked it. When you saw the credits roll, Xearrik, and you got to that, I thought a really cool credit scene at the the first time you see credits. Were you happy with that? Did you like how it kind of wrapped everything up, or
yes,
without getting into spoilers or anything like that? Just did you like it? Did you not?
Yeah, I did definitely like it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Like the ending and everything. Like I enjoyed everything about the game, just about, except for the Valkyries. I think that it was an excellently made game.
There's some little thing. Obviously, it's not a perfect game. Like I have prompt issues.
There's a wolf attack. Go ahead. You keep going. You go.
Oh, with the arrows from Atreus.
No. There's a wolf attack that has a yellow ring, which means it's parryable. That's not parryable.
Oh, that's shitty.
Yeah, I kind of made my stream a little bit mad. I spent a half an hour trying to parry that one move, and just a few people were like thinking maybe I just wasn't doing it yet. Still, so then I was like, okay, well we're just gonna parry everything for half an hour straight, and so I literally just sat there with the controller in one hand, parrying, not missing one parry. Over and over. Like a couple of my subscribers accused me of a parry botting or something. I was like,
you're so precise.
Yeah, because I can parry in Dark Souls, and God of War parrying is nothing compared to Dark Souls.
It's pretty forgiving.
Yeah, it's way. And I even put on a thing that increased my parry window. And you cannot parry that wolf's. It's the second wolf that's more difficult. The second one.
Is it the ones with like more the reddish tint?
Yeah. And they do a shoulder charge.
Yeah.
And you get a yellow ring for that. Can't parry it. You can block it, and you'll get your shield pushed away, but you cannot parry it.
Oh, weird.
Yep.
Yeah, you're supposed to. So, well, I think we'll end the conversation there, just so we don't accidentally do any more damage to it, unless you add more to.
I did want to ask you one thing, and it is spoiler-ish, but I know a way to make it so that no one will be spoiled very easily.
Okay.
I can make a visual change. So what'll happen is, while I'm in the forest, while I'm in the cartoony forest, there are spoilers, okay? And so if you want to not experience the spoilers, then just stay in the cartoon, then don't listen to the cartoony forest. This will only take a minute, not even a couple minutes, only a minute. I wanted to ask you about the...
Oh, yeah, and if your audio, skip 30 seconds twice.
Oh, that's right.
We're good. We'll be quick.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about the scene where there was... where they got to the giant's place.
Okay.
That they finally been trying to get to, and the flapping... the thing flapped up, and it showed the crazy-looking scene for a second where Kratos and the boy looked like they were dying.
Okay.
Did you look at that closer?
No.
Okay, if you look at it closer, you can find out some pretty cool stuff. I think it's a hint on what's going to be happening in the next game, sort of like the setup for it. And in fact, it didn't even show everything. If you look at the whole thing closer and look up under the fabric and follow and look at all the murals in that section, you can figure out some pretty interesting things. Like
really,
like for instance, it did show the boy and Kratos dying, right? However. Yes. If you kept looking, if you went down and looked at more of the mural, it showed the boy walking away alone with a wolf following him.
I didn't see the wolf. I saw what I thought it looked like was the boy killing Kratos.
Maybe, but it did show a wolf following him.
And I didn't go farther, so I didn't see that. When you saw them together, both, cool.
The only other wolf in all the mural were the wolves that supposedly chase the sun and the moon.
Gotcha.
So maybe that has something to do with that. So there's some pretty interesting theories you can come up with. You can go back there, I think, anytime you want.
Yes, I can.
Back and take a look at
I will. Yeah,
and I'm gonna go ahead and go ahead.
And I don't think we spoiled anything because there is no. Yeah, so what we said. I think that we are out of spoiler zone for sure. I think we're good.
Okay. I'll switch back.
So we did it in less than a minute. We're good. All right, man. You've also been playing a new game that just came out called Vampire. With a Y because it's cool.
Yeah, I think maybe I don't understand why the Y is there 100%, but I'm thinking it might have something to do with the choices. So, because every time you're in this dialogue tree,
Well, pyre's
it
a word.
has
Let me look at the definition of a pyre without the E, with an E at the end. A heap of combustible material, especially one for burning a corpse as part of a funeral ceremony.
Yeah, but
does that fit in?
No.
Okay.
I think they used the Y because first off, it will allow them to call the game Vampire, I guess, right, without having to worry about other names of products. I would suppose. I don't think there's ever been a Vampire Y video game, and because if they called it Vampire the Mask, like there's Vampire the Masquerade, right? And even if it's called Vampire the Masquerade, I think that they might still be able to try to get people on that, maybe. So maybe that's why.
Okay.
But what I do know is that whenever you're in this dialogue with the game, like you're making choices when you're talking to people, there tends to be three options. There always tends to be three options when there's like some sort of important thing, as in I'm going to try to convince this person to do something. I have three options to convince them, and they always draw Y linking the three options because it's a circle, right? Like
Okay.
they have unfortunately, even though it's on PC, it has that whole circle input thingy, right?
Gotta love that.
And in the middle of the circle input, there's a Y that links the three options. And
Okay.
so I'm thinking maybe that's the gimmick. I don't know, but one thing you might not.
So
realize,
I don't know anything about this game.
Okay, well, it's not that much of an action game.
Okay.
It does have action in it, and it's not a point and click or a what are that called for some reason?
Like walking simulator type of.
No, well, you got to press the buttons, timed buttons. What is that called?
QTE,
I can't remember.
quick time events.
Yeah, quick time event. I for some reason forgot what that was called all of a sudden. But anyways, quick time event. It's not that type of game, but it is a game made by the same people who made. Oh wow, I can't think at all right now. The one of the newest popular point and click type of ones that you walk around, not
Telltale?
walking. Not Telltale made. The other one.
The Tim Schafer, let's see here. I'm cheating. Developer Dontnod. I've not heard of them.
No.
Published by Focus Home Interactive. Designer Florent Guillaume. It's made on Unreal Engine. I'm not familiar.
No, it's Life is Strange.
Oh,
Life
that's
is
the game you're
Strange.
talking about. Okay.
Yeah, they made Life is Strange.
Gotcha.
So, like, this is way different than that, of course. But it's still a very story. It feels like it is. Like, they also made Remember Me. Not a very good pedigree when it comes to that. So that's their games. They made Remember Me, Life is Strange, and Vampire. That's it. 2 years apart from each of them. So, or no,
yes.
3 years or something. I don't know. Whatever.
2013, Remember Me. 2015, Life is Strange. 2018, Vampire. So
okay. So, Life is Strange. I mean, Vampire. It does have action in it, and it is like the combat is in there, but it doesn't feel good at times. It feels good sometimes, and then other times it feels kind of clunky.
Okay.
Like the melee attack is weird in that it looks like it's fast, but it actually isn't fast. I showed my chat. I don't think they understood exactly what I meant when I explained that, because his swipe is really quick. It's like shoo, and it makes a really fast sound. However, he moves so far before he takes the swipe that it's actually a really slow attack. And because of that, I'm used to those types of games where they'll allow you to change your positioning in the middle of an attack a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what happens in those kind of third-person action, fast-paced attack game things is that when you get the slower attack, sometimes you can reposition it. A lot like Dark Souls, right? So I take the swing normally before I get to the target. When those third-person games, it's almost like pre-firing around a corner in an FPS.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite on target yet, but it doesn't matter. I'm swinging now because I will be on target by the time I get there. And so
Gotcha.
I do that instinctively, and I've had to stop doing that for this game because it doesn't allow you to do that. When you press the button, are you going to dash forward this huge distance and then swipe? And when I say a huge distance, I showed the people in the stream, it doesn't look like it or feel like it until you just stand still, do one attack, and then watch what happens. And what happens is your character leaps forward like 6 feet and then goes shop. And it's freaky because the combat doesn't feel like that's happening, but that's exactly what's happening. And it's so rigid and weird that it also can glitch the game. In the very first boss fight in the game, after I beat it, I beat the little boss, which was just he was just a little monster. I beat him, and like I don't know if the boss fights have been humanoid like creatures, right? So like they haven't been really exciting. Don't think Dark Souls big monsters either.
Okay.
There might be stuff like that later on, but for now they're just humanoid sized monsters that have more health than normal.
Probably not. You don't see vampires with. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So I beat him, and then I go around breaking a lot of boxes because that's what I do. Okay, I break boxes, I break pots.
You're
God of War,
yeah.
God of War was a thing. I did not leave a single pot alive in God of War. If there would have been an achievement for that, I would have got it. I broke all the pots. It didn't matter if it was way up on a cliff somewhere. That pot got broke. So, and so I'm going around breaking all the boxes and stuff, and I swing. And it teleports me through the wall. I mean, through this rubble stuff, and I'm stuck in this stuff now. I can't get out. I had to reload the game.
That sucks.
Like, yeah, like so, like that kind of stuff is kind of weird. Also, visually, it looks terrible for a game that is on PC. I got 1080 Ti, right?
Damn.
And got everything maxed out. And sometimes I know it's the anti-aliasing because sometimes the anti-aliasing can do like a Vaseline type of effect and different ones like that. I've used both the different anti-aliasings. I turned it off completely. Nothing can get rid of it. There is a gray blurriness on everything, like a fog. You know how old PlayStation games and stuff like that used to have a fog and a draw distance? That, but a couple feet away. It is terrible.
Wow.
And I don't understand why. Like, of course, it's set in London, so 100% of the game has been foggy.
Sure.
Like, okay, fine. 100% of the game has been foggy outside because it's set in London, right? Like,
but it sounds like they're going a little further than. It's
not
like you can't see in London.
And the screenshots don't do it justice as far as how foggy it is, because they don't, like, you can tell these have been touched up almost. It just doesn't, like, here, look at this. Here's one where it's not completely fixed. I'll link this to you. Like, look at how it looks foggy, right? And that's not even, I'm trying to find an actual gameplay where.
Now to be fair, I can't move my I've got
because you don't want to mess up the
and the exposure on the monitor that's displayed on right now is not fair to images.
Oh,
so but I'll what I'll do is I'm gonna go watch your clips of your stream when we're done to get a good view of it, because I know I mean I obviously trust your.
I demonstrated it at one point.
Okay,
where like you can get up to where you're like no more than a foot or less away from your character. And there's still this blurriness to it. Like, oh, this is one that's closer to what I see. And you'll see, this is like, it looks like it's rendered in a cutscene almost too. And
that one's even more.
Everything is grayed out.
It's like I missed, like you're in a basement, like an old basement, like a cellar,
and that's
like a proper cellar, not like.
Yeah, and that's outside, right? So maybe I can buy that, whatever.
Sure.
But even indoors, it does that. I showed my subscribers, is like, look at this right here. And about behind my character, of course, there was that little gray, and I couldn't figure out any way to turn that off. And there was that little gray, misty, whatever. Everything is grayed out. It's like you have the brightness turned up too high. Or something,
like
right?
It looks overwatched, or it looks exposed or washed out.
And I messed with my monitor's brightness, and that didn't fix it either. I don't know what's going on, but I know that. But in the background, I was like maybe 6 or 7 feet behind the main character, under the stairs inside of a building. I was like, look at this. And as I walked closer to it, as in like I was like 3 or 4 feet away from it, you can see under the stairs, but it looked blurry and grayed. And then when I walked about 6 feet away from it, it just turned into pure mist. There was nothing there. It was just gray. You couldn't make out any details on anything.
That sounds like they were running into like some performance issues and needed
maybe, but it's running perfectly fine. Like
that's my point. That maybe that's how they got it to that point.
Maybe
when you look at those older, and I'm only hyper aware of this because I just watched the Bethesda documentary.
Yeah.
And so you see a lot of the gray fog and the draw distance, in the old Elder Scrolls games. So
if that's so, then I would have liked another option where is performance. Just they could have not even explained what it was. Just clarity performance or something, and you turn it on and off. And on is if your PC's beast enough. If off would be if your PC's beast enough, you can actually see a clear looking game, except for when you're outside in the fog, right?
Yeah.
Like it was
because this fog does. Even the picture you showed, it's like even if it's outside, it's not dark in the right ways. And if it's the daylight, it wouldn't be foggy in this manner anyway. So
it's not a AAA budget game, so I'm a little bit more forgiving. Like I still like the game. Those are my main criticisms of it. Well, that and the number one criticism. Okay. The combat is still kind of fun, even though it's not very deep at the moment. I haven't gotten a lot of the magical powers yet, so I don't know.
It sounds like there's still a bit of a rhythm to it, like that you get used to the learning curve and the attack timing and stuff. And
the dodging isn't like a dodge roll like most games nowadays. It's a shadowy teleport thing.
Oh, okay.
And so when you're fighting enemies, like it feels cool when you're doing that. It feels a bit overpowered too, because like there's the enemies coming at you, you're like shoop, 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 and you're just teleporting all around them.
Sounds like Fury. Remember that? Yeah. That came from last
year. And there was The Witcher, when you played as the woman, you could do that.
Oh,
it's exactly like that ability, but it goes a little less. There's a little less distance in the teleports, where it feels like a teleport, but because you kind of even become shadowy a little bit when you do it.
Cool.
And I have fought one enemy that seemed like he was a boss because he had a big life bar on the bottom of the screen, so I think he was a boss. He did the same thing. So sometimes the enemies can do that too. Mostly I've been fighting humans because I guess I'm early in the game. But okay, I'll explain how the game works now. Those are my main criticisms visually and mechanically. Basically the game isn't as much about that as it is about these interconnected relationships between all these different people in 4 different districts.
Okay.
So you go around meeting everyone and talking to them, and you figure out how they're all related to each other and whatnot. And then you make decisions on what you're going to do to them and how you're going to influence them based on that relation. Because the health of a district goes down if you kill people or if they get sick and stuff like that. And you're a doctor, you can actually help bring people, make them healthier and stuff like that, and help everyone get better and bring the district's health up completely.
Okay.
One of the big motives behind in being a bad guy, motivations in being a bad guy, if you do want to be a bad guy, if you're going to be tempted, I'm not speaking properly here, but you can be tempted. The way they try to tempt you to being a bad guy, here we go, is that you get very little experience from combat and killing enemies.
Okay.
As in, I killed a boss character who was really tough to kill, like super hard. I got 40 experience. To kill a super weak enemy that takes me like 3 or 4 hits, I get 5 experience. So for this boss that took me like 2 tries to kill because he was way higher level than me and stuff, I get 4 times the experience of one little dude that takes 3 strikes. That is not a big bonus of experience. But where you get a lot of experience is eating NPCs, like feeding on them and killing them.
That's a cool mechanic.
So, a crappy nothing NPC doesn't seem important, was sick and all that stuff. I just met him, was like worth 300 experience if I was willing to kill him. So think about that, right? Like compare that to the one boss that took multiple tries.
So what's the negative of eating the NPCs?
The overall health of the district goes down.
Okay. That makes sense.
yeah, like the social dynamic of the place might change, right? Like it tells you straight out who the pillar of the community is.
Okay.
There's four different communities, and it says this is the pillar of the community. And the pillar of the community, before you do anything to them, already is worth a crazy amount of experience, like 4,000 or some odd crazy amount of experience. And but if you kill that dude, you imagine everyone's life is going to suffer because of that, right? Like one of the communities is the hospital. Okay. And so the pillar of the hospital's community is the guy who owns and runs the hospital. And that doctor, if you were to kill him, then you'd imagine like maybe the hospital might even shut down. Is there someone to step up in that? Maybe you can step up and put yourself in his position. I don't know. But like you have to be careful about who you're going to be willing to kill and get that extra experience, because some of the powers look quite tempting and like interesting on how it will change the game and what you can do. Like you can feed on people in the middle of combat by biting them. Okay. But there's one ability called coagulation that allows you to manipulate their blood. There's a lot of blood manipulation, a lot of blood magic in this game, but this one allows you to make it so that they're kind of stunned a little bit. Makes sense, right? You're kind of, I guess you're coagulating their blood or something, and you're making them stiff so they can't move around as well. Sure. But if you go through,
freeze all those platelets. Sorry.
Yeah, when you then when you go through, when you select it though, there's like there's a tree for it, but it's not really. It just goes off into two different branches. But on the bottom branch, it says it gives you a new ability with it, and that's that you can feed on enemies from a distance. Okay. And I don't know if you've ever played oh wow. Like I didn't struggle to remember this name. Kane?
Legacy of Kane?
Blood Omen, Legacy of Kane.
No.
So if you ever played Blood Omen, Legacy of Kane, it's
Dustin
that.
has.
And yeah, as soon as I read that you can use telekinesis to draw the blood from their wounds from a distance in your mouth, I just immediately yelled "Ve Victus" because that's a thing that is always when you're fighting enemies and that game, like you're doing the fighting, and for some reason he'll shout "Ve Victus" here and there, and then the guy will be like, "Ugh!" And then you reach out, and then you just start sucking the blood from them, and it just a stream of blood starts coming from their body, and they're like, "Ah!" And then you're like, and
well, I mean, you need that you need that in a vampire game, right? So
yeah. So I'm like doing my best to get to that ability as fast as possible. I want to baby whatever.
Well, cool. Well, we're getting tight on time. But
sorry.
I don't want to skip over Dark Souls Remastered.
Oh,
I really wanted to hear you talk about some Dark Souls. Give me some of the highlights and lowlights of the port. But again,
Okay, so I think it's I think that if you're gonna be buying this, if you haven't bought it yet and you don't have a PC and you want to play it on console and you want to play it on a modern console, I think that it's okay. It's kind of worth it. Maybe wait for a sale still, just to teach them a lesson. But if you're gonna try to buy it on PC, then they're robbing you, and unfortunately you don't have a choice anymore because they removed the original from the store.
I heard that.
The original has better graphics, first off, when you mod it, which is super easy to do, and the new one does not run at that crazily stable at 60. It runs, and like I said, 1080 Ti. It still runs. It runs smooth, but actually, believe it or not, it actually hit not all, but it still has a few of those bugs that I thought were related to 60 frames per second bugs, because with the original, they unlocked it so that you could put it at 60, but there would be a few issues here and there. Mm-hmm. Now, there still is that. And by the way, even though you can play it at 60, the game is still locked to the frame rate. So if you're playing it on PC and for some reason your PC is not strong enough and you try to play it at 30 frames per second, then you're playing at half speed. Apparently that's a thing. I haven't seen that myself because I never get the frame dips because of the 1080 Ti.
Yeah.
But if you don't have, I don't what the hell? Apparently it's still locked to the frame rate somehow. They didn't really do much of anything. They fixed a few bugs. They made some things objectively worse. You want to, man, it's so, they screwed up things.
I'm sorry to laugh, but it's funny.
rolling in Dark Souls Remastered.
This is
I wanna see if we can get you a
it's $40,
screenshot of
right?
this.
$40.
Yes, or if you already own it,
It's like $20 on PC.
Yes, and it should have been free.
I have the real one, so I'm not even gonna mess with it. I'll just mod it if I ever want to play it.
Yeah, it
I have the
should be
Prepare to
free.
Die edition.
It is not. It is not. No. Okay. It is an update. That is all this is. This is just for you guys who don't know. When the original game was released, they didn't mod it, they didn't update it. They released it. It was a buggy piece of crap, and they never once fixed a single bug. Everything that was fixed and done to that game was done by the community with mods, and this is the patch that people have been waiting for since it first released. It's definitely not they did not remastered this game as a remastered. No, like that is, there needs to be quotation marks in under the mastered part of their title. And they need to throw a few more E's after that, our first RE, because it is ridiculously, like, it's a joke that they're doing that. And I'm not cool with that. Some stuff, like Laz could tell you in chat, I can't find a screenshot of it, but it's silly. Some things graphically are super terrible, and then mechanically there's a few things that are worse and whatnot. And they didn't fix so many bugs that have been documented in the community for so long. Things that are just super easy to change. The PvP in that game is cancerous, because imagine a game that's been out for years, a game that attracts trolls and people who are diehard, like, let's do their thing, and then it actively encourages you to hurt other people's gameplay, kind of a thing, right? And then combine that with years of knowledge about the game and what tricks and exploits you can use to ruin someone's time. Almost every last bit of those things are still in the game.
That's crazy.
You can do all
Alex,
kinds of glitchy stuff.
Alex in chat says it's more like a re-release.
Yeah, it's so silly. It is. Oh my god, it is. I think it is the worst remastering of any video game I've ever played in my life. It is just a patch to fix the things, some of the things that were broken. I'm waiting for the update. They need to update it again. Maybe when they release Dark Souls Remastered again on the PS6, that will finally have the Dark Souls game that we should have had.
Yeah.
Like, get the hell out of here. It's such... Ooh.
I'm sorry, man. I know you're a big fan.
Yeah.
So Khajiit's out there being a...
Yes.
No, that's Bethesda. Sorry, that's Fallout.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. When I'm still going to continue to play it. I'm going to do another stream thing on it, but some of the stuff is so terrible. Like the rolling thing... Well, mechanically, the rolling thing, yeah, they didn't fix that either. This would have been really easy. When you lock onto an enemy, even though this is a 3D third-person action game, when you lock onto an enemy, you can roll 4 directions. That's it. It doesn't have like...
it doesn't have like a 8-way joystick even kind of thing, or an 8-way directional. It's up, down, left, or right.
Yeah, joysticks existed when this game was made. It's not that old game. Like, right? Like, it wasn't made for the PS1 back before they released the first DualShock. This damn game was
having
made
a directional
for the
would be so frustrating, because if you're slightly off, you end up rolling forward into the enemy and get a bullshit death when you would have been fine otherwise.
Yeah, so like that alone like would have been a great fix. There's so many things. There's still not even cloth physics in the game. Like, well,
that's fine.
Remastered.
I understand why there's not that if there's all these other bugs.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would have liked them to just fix that. But then they made some things worse. Like I said, the rolling, when you roll, there's some sort of weird, they've made new bugs. So you could tell all they did was they patched the game and then re-released it. Because when you patch it, sometimes there's some things that mess up a little bit, right? And even better than that at the moment, some of the so basic stuff would have been super easy to fix, and they didn't fix. There's places where there's stupid stuff like floating in the sky that doesn't belong there. Like there's a section early in the game where there's these really big elevators, and if you get to the top of where the elevator is and then walk outside and then look up over the building, you'll see the chains for the elevator going hundreds of feet over the building, because it's just a solid chain that goes through the building, right? Yeah. How hard would that have been for them to fix that? Right? 2 seconds?
I don't know. I don't program. Okay. I would guess, but I have no idea. And what else does that break? Maybe they did. Maybe they took it away and it broke something else in a catastrophic way where they're like, we gotta leave it.
Yes. There was what about the floating door in the Duke's archives just floating up in the sky? Why couldn't they have just deleted that? Right? I guess it would have broke something else. Who knows?
But video games, it's a miracle that they even work. So I do try to be sympathetic when shit like this is broken. Like, if it's that easy, there's got to be some bizarre or weird reason that someone could be
make
like,
it transparent or something. Turn the chain blue so I can't see it against the sky. Do something, you lazy bastards.
Yeah, I don't know.
And like, here's an example of them making things worse. I'm almost certain there were these lizards in this forest that were supposed to be stealthy in the tree that were semi-transparent, but I could be wrong on that. I only played through that section once, and I can't really remember. So let's forget about that. Actually, let's go to the rolling thing, the graphically rolling thing. So when you roll in the game, your character's ankles snap in half. Like, when you've seen it once, you can never unsee it. When you roll, your character's ankles bend all your foot. Stay straight, like your foot doesn't isn't articulate like a normal foot, right? Yeah. So it stays that straight, rigid foot. But the 8-year-old video game bends back so far that the heel of your foot touches the base of the back of your leg when you roll. Well, and so every time you roll, you do this weird thing with your feet. And why is that even there? Like, and they didn't notice that, or did they just? I'm sure they noticed it.
It's just low on the priority list. I don't know.
Yeah,
but you're not alone.
Low on the priority list. Quality,
yeah,
just any sort of quality.
You're not alone. You're not alone, and I've heard other people have this sentiment as well. So, I'm catching, catching it from the stands, I guess. So, well, I do want to hear a little bit about Horizon.
That's Xearik's litter box right there. Dark Souls Remastered. Damn it.
So, any other thoughts though about Horizon? I know you fired that up again today.
No, I'm still liking it. It's some parts that are annoying and whatnot, and there's some funkiness to it.
I really need to get back and finish that.
It's just such a beautiful game.
Man, it is.
It's pretty fun. And
did your chat like it? Are they enjoying watching you play through it?
I think so. Yeah, I haven't had them anyone be like, "Oh man, you're playing this again." Cool. Everyone seems to be happy about it.
Cool, and that's another one where I really like a lot of the voice acting and the character design and stuff. I don't know, people just look cool in that game.
Yeah, and also the game looks infinitely better than Vampire. Like, I was comparing,
despite that you have a PS4 versus a Beast.
Yes. Yeah, I was comparing them on stream. I was like, look, this is what I'm talking about, guys. And I pulled up a screenshot of Vampire, and I was like, look at this weird foggy textures when you're looking at the person's face. And then I used my stream deck that you might be getting, who knows, to turn off my share because I was sharing the display. And I pressed the stream deck button to turn that down, and then all you see is a zoomed in, super close picture of Aloy, and it's just gorgeous. It looks amazing, especially for a console game. And I'm like, oh man, I wish they could have done a little bit better with the PC version of this game.
Yeah, but then you got to compare team sizes, like you said.
Because I think they are
development time and stuff. So it's not always fair to do. But that's cool. That I like hearing that that you and your chat are still enjoying Horizon, because that's one that I bought. I paid full price for. I don't regret that purchase. But I'm mad at myself that I have not completed it. Breath of the Wild got my attention. They kind of came out similar times.
Well, Breath of the Wild would. I'm glad I didn't play this game until now, because Breath of the Wild is just such a freaking masterpiece compared to this. Like, it is. I tell my chat all the time, because a lot of my chat love open world games, that Breath of the Wild is the best, hands down, anywhere near close competition, the best open world game ever made. As far as the open world aspects of the game, if you're playing a game because you want to experience a great open world game and you want to experience the open worldness types of things, that's it. There's nothing better, hands down.
And you played the Wii U version as well, just so people are aware.
But things like say that version. But like the Skyrim quest system and all the interpersonal relationships between those characters and all that stuff, way better in Skyrim, of course, and stuff like that. The thing that Zelda does better than any other one is that aspect of the gameplay, the open worldness, the fact that just the amount of ridiculous freedom of thought when it comes to doing whatever you want to do in that game. It's like, oh, there's a group of enemies over there. I can approach this situation in 1,000 different ways. And I don't mean just using whatever weapons here. I can do something more than that. I can put some little balloon things on a damn rock and use a freaking leaf to blow the freaking rock closer to them and then shoot the balloons with a freaking there's weird inflatable things that like can pick up really heavy things. That's for people who haven't played it. There's these you get them from fish, these bladders from a fish that you can inflate, and you can put them on like rocks and whatnot and float them, and then use the korok leaf to push it, or you can just kind of bump into it, of course, and use the korok leaf to like move it over top of the enemies and then shoot the thing, and so it pops and drops right on top of the enemy. You can do that with bombs too and stuff like that.
That's
like
cool.
Like like you can do that with anything. Like that's just,
or you can just walk by
of it,
and not engage at all. Like,
yeah,
I don't
exactly.
want to mess with that right now.
Like if you're dealing with like a tree, like you cut down a tree or something like that, and you want to move it into the river or something, and you can't like push it or do that thing, you don't necessarily have to run as far downstream as that one time where I did. You could do what I was just talking about, use those things, and that's just one mechanic of it. Like every bit of it. Like you can set the grass on fire. When you set the grass on fire, not only does it create grass fire that can lead into exploding things and doing all kinds of stuff like that, but you can it creates updrafts so that when you're using things like say the balloon thing or your glider or something like that, it changes the way that works. Oh, you're in fire. Well, if you just when you go into water, you temporarily can walk in through fire and stuff like that without taking as much damage, because
that's cool because you're wet.
Yes, and
Sweet.
There's everything that you can think of. Like when I say openness, like I was like, oh man, I really wish I could have this food cold. Okay, well, you're playing Fallout, you need to put it in a fridge. You're playing Zelda, hit it with your ice staff, drop it on the ground, and hit it with your ice staff. Suddenly, it's cold.
Yeah,
like it just works. You drop your, or you're in a
there's
cold
definitely
biome now.
There's a consistent logic to that game that even if it doesn't make total sense, it does once you learn the basic rules of the game. Even going to like the recipes, you start to say like, you recognize things and rules in the world that are consistent, which is really impressive and cool.
It's so much freedom. Like just like if I keep going through things, I guarantee there's going to be tons of stuff you didn't know you could do or think about you could do, because the game doesn't tell you. The game expects you to figure it out on your own, and not because it thinks it's a hard game, but because it's not hard to figure out on your own. All you have to do is think about the game not just as a video game, but as things should work.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like
there's logic.
And
based in reality. To a certain degree, but certain things may make with recipes it might make you feel better or behave a certain way. So
these enemies, their weapons are on the ground before you engage them. Well, you can sneak up and steal all their weapons, and then they're going to have to fight you hand to hand.
Yeah.
Or how about you keep a korok leaf in your inventory for some random things, right? Well, hey, use the korok leaf to hit them with a buffet of wind, which quite often will make them maybe drop a weapon or something, and then drop the leaf and grab their weapon.
Yeah,
and
Wow.
And if the leaf is the only thing to grab, you know what they're going to be grabbing? They're going to be grabbing a leaf that they can just like good job, dude. You're not really hurting too much. And then because of the logic of the game and how everything flows, and like you think of stuff like it's like, oh hey, I wonder these balloons. What if I put these balloons that lift things up? What if I put them on this slab of rock, and then I stand on the rock? Oh my god, I'm flying! Like, what if
can you hold a leaf to like propel yourself and all that kind of stuff from there?
What if I do it to the raft? The raft has a sail and everything. What if I try to put? I fell off the raft. That's because of the physics of the game. So what if I put a balloon here on this corner and a balloon there on that corner? Oh my god, I'm flying on a raft now. Let's use the leaf to make it go, and I got an airship in Zelda.
That's cool.
Like the balloons are about to pop because they've been too long. Use the time freeze ability on the raft, and it freezes it in midair as you're standing on it, and put new balloons on it, and then you're flying again.
That's smart. That's cool.
Right? Like,
but then you got to execute that, and there's a lot of. It'd be easy to just fat finger something through
right?
too.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man.
It's a good game.
We are gonna move on, talk about what I've been playing, and then wrap the show up. I've already talked about most of what I've been playing. I just want to mention two things other than God of War and Bloodstained. One, I think Donkey Kong is probably my favorite arcade machine. I played it at a barcade a couple weeks ago. It was awesome. Super fun. Oh, pro tip, if somebody tells you that they're taking you on a historic brewery tour, watch out. I've been to plenty of brewery tours, right? But not plenty, good handful.
Yeah.
Historic brewery tour is where breweries used to be. So there's no beer on the way.
Oh.
And it was hot as hell.
I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, so I've been on my school actually took me on a brewery tour when I was younger.
Oh, that's cool as hell.
Yeah, and they gave us, I'm like, I don't know if that would fly nowadays. I remember they gave us all some of the wood from the barrel.
Yeah.
Like not the barrel, but because they roll it in this thing with the stuff to give it the flavor, the woody flavor or something. And they gave us this wood, and I don't know how long it'd been soaking in beer or whatever. So it just smelled like beer, and I'm like, even back then, I'm like, oh, why are they giving all these kids like stuff that smells like beer and stuff? Like, I'm like, this feels weird.
Yeah.
Like, is this?
You get them hooked early. They know what's going on. That's like taking like candy cigarettes home from candy cigarettes home from Morris and Philip Morris. Yeah. So
yeah.
But yeah, Donkey Kong Country or Donkey Kong, just straight up the original, is really, it holds up very well. It's hard, it's fun, it's fair. Not always fair, but it's great. And then go ahead. What are you gonna say?
You know, I just realized that's probably exactly what they're doing because of the way memory and nostalgia works. If you had a really fun time, kind of a thing, and you that wood is a big part of that scent, because smell is a really big part of memory and nostalgia for people. So imagine if like years and years later, when you're old, or you decide you're old enough to take your first drink, and you crack open, and there's a few different alcohols there, and someone cracks open whatever that beer was that you smelled and that thing when you're a kid. Maybe it'll trigger that thing that goes on. Memory is weird. It'll make you like things more than you actually do.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the way people say acquired taste. There's actually a thing in your brain that is the more you do something when it comes to like food and sometimes music and stuff like that, your brain begins to like acquire a taste for it, and you start to like it.
Mastodon. They're an acquired taste. I can't stop listening to Mastodon. I did not like him at first, but now I love it. So yeah, man, I'm right there with you. And then also, I bought a Switch game called Just Shapes and Beats because it has a lot of chiptune artists I like in it, and it's a really good. It's kind of like it's not a shoot 'em up, but it's difficult like a bullet hell shoot 'em up. It's you're not actually shooting bullets, you're avoiding stuff. But it's got a great cadence and rhythm to it. I know Cubby's on there, Saber Pulse, Danimal Cannon was in there. Some other people that I recognize, which is really cool. Very fun stuff. So,
oh yeah, this does look interesting. It almost reminds me of.
I want to do a stream of it. I just need to find the time and motivation to do it.
Oh, what does it remind me of? There was some musical like game that was kind of pixely like this. I don't know, but yeah, that's kind of remind me of some stuff like this, and not exactly that one game. There was that one game on
like Geometry Wars or Symphony something, or
maybe not Geometry Wars because I didn't play that one, and definitely not that. What
this
was
has
that
a really
other
cool.
one?
It's like a dash feature, kind of like in Asteroids.
Yeah,
and that's what's kept me alive is just a dash feature. And there's like checkpoints in almost kind of a boss fight at one point. It was really great. So I don't know, just Beats and Shapes is very fun, and so far it's been really hard, but I've liked it. So all right, cool. Let's get to some comments from last week, and then we will call it a show. Do you have the comments?
No, okay. No, I totally forgot about that.
That's all right. I'll rip through them pretty quick. Okay. If you want to jump in, you're welcome to. So we got first. I want to give a shout out to KD Ratio Show on YouTube. They left a comment, so they found us on Twitter and that they love the podcast. So KD Ratio, if you're listening, thank you very much for commenting last week and appreciate it. I checked out their stuff as well. they had a kind of a highlight of them playing. I think it was Final Fight or Streets of Rage, one of those. That was really funny. Just I don't know, reminded me of me and Dustin. So definitely a Katie Ratio show. Check them out. And then also Dumez comments. He says no. You don't have to pay for backup saves on the Xbox and PS4. Last week, or last episode, Mike and I were not sure because we've always been subscribers, but we thought you might need to pay for the saves. Dumez is letting us know that's not true. He says on Xbox, it's free, including cloud. He says on the PS4, you can copy using a USB stick. On the Wii U, you could just save to an SD card and then every system backup. So that's good clarification from us there. Also, he says you can't use Discord or Skype for Switch play because you must already have friends. The app will allow you to join a random game. Oh, the app maybe won't or will allow you to join a random game with others and play them and talk to them. This is why they're so pissed that it's a horrible app. Gotcha. So it's not as easy as a workaround because you have to make matches in games or maybe in the app. That sucks.
The heck?
I'm sure he's right. He also says, I thought, and that's my understanding, is I think with like, if you and I wanted to play Splatoon, I think we needed the app to find each other.
Yeah.
So you'd almost need the app and another voice app, which is crazy.
Yeah. Sorry, I just got slightly distracted for a second. I did hear you, but I wasn't responding enough because I was slightly distracted by some.
Are you YouTube disagreeing, feature. Or do you have clarification?
No, some YouTube feature that just popped up on my screen I didn't know about.
Oh, okay.
They've added messages back into the YouTube, but you can only do it with like friends or something.
Okay.
Like
well, invite us to be friends. I know they were getting rid of the
add more contacts,
the private message stuff. So
you have to share a link.
Okay. Well, I'm not really too concerned about YouTube right now.
Invitation to share videos on YouTube.
So
weird.
Hold on. I'm gonna get through dumbass stuff, and I'll check out.
Yeah. Go for that. Yeah.
He says, I thought NWA put out the best song. Bitch, better have my money because of the wrong ID3 tag. Did you hear last episode how we were talking about when you'd pirate music and it'd have the wrong labeling in it? You'd think I
think so. I did skip large sections of it because your host was very spoiler heavy with some of the stuff he was. I was like, all right, skip.
Yeah, Mike does that. That's fair.
And it got to the point where I was like, all right, I had my mouse waiting. And I was like, oh, skip.
That's totally fine. But we were talking about that. Like there was a bluegrass version of Gin and Juice. That me and everybody I went to high school with for a while thought Fish did it because it had the wrong ID3 tag, which Fish ultimately ended up doing a cover of it because it was so prevalent and rumored that they did a nod to it as well, which I thought was pretty funny.
Nice.
Domez says, I gotta correct Mike on a couple of key switch points on the online, etc. He says, homie had some very wrong ideas. He says, first, you have to have 2 Switches, and you will need a family plan, but it doesn't mean that your game will be on both. It just means that the Nintendo Online benefits to the user SD on both Switches. He says, if one person buys a game, then no, not everyone on the plan gets the game. And the next part is critical. Your digital purchases are indeed tied to the Nintendo Online account, but your Nintendo Online account is also tied to your Switch, and you're only allowed to have your Nintendo ID on one Switch total. If your Switch is stolen or breaks, you can contact Nintendo, and they will free up your account when you register your Nintendo account on the new Switch. It says you have to have access to your whole library. You will have access to your whole library just like you did before. It was just the Wii where the digital purchases were fully tied to the console and not just tied to any account of yours. The 3DS and Wii U onwards have been tied to the online account. So that's I knew that about the Wii U because I had my hard drive completely die and I had to re-download a bunch of games. He also says, Thomas says, we all watch Gem and She-Ra. Not many of us admit it.
I never watched Gem.
I did.
I didn't even know it was a thing. I somehow it had to have existed. Like I had to have seen.
Yeah.
But I have
existed.
no childhood memories, not a single one of Jim.
Man, really? I watched it a lot.
Yeah.
Now, I was at a babysitter that had a bunch of guys and girls, so
Yeah.
we
I
all just watched
watched
whatever. But I would have watched Jim at home too if it was on.
Yeah.
Like, I like that show.
I mean, I probably might have watched it. I don't know. Maybe I just really was turned off. But I watched a lot of He-Man.
She-Ra I watched a little bit, yeah, but I watched more He-Man than She-Ra.
But then
some Strawberry Shortcake I watched.
In my teens, I watched a little Sailor Moon, like at least a dozen or 2 dozen episodes, enough to know that there was that. I can't remember tuxedo mask, and he's like, it's the same damn thing every time. He's like, she's like, I can't quite get strong enough to do it. The bad guy's gonna beat me, and then tuxedo mask comes in. He's like, ha, and he throws a rose for some reason, and then the rose like cuts the face or the hand or the cloth or something like that of the bad guy, and then it sticks in the ground, and then Tuxedo Mask gives a speech, an inspiring speech, and he didn't even help. He just gives an inspiring speech. And then
that's all you needed in the 80s, man. The speech did it all.
I think that was 90s there. That's why I say I was in my teens or maybe early.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you did. Yeah. Sailor Moon. That's when it was popular. I was definitely a teenager. There was in high school. Yeah, what's that?
Vepper had a crush on She-Ra. No, I don't even remember what She-Ra looks like. I can at least remember.
She's like blonde and worth having a cartoon crush on. Like, she was pretty.
Oh,
you've seen She-Ra? I'm
sure. I must have seen it. I mean, it has a lot of the same characters, right?
Yeah, it's like like a spin-off show of He-Man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Xena the Warrior Princess.
Yes, that's a great comparison. To Conan.
Huh.
So
well, maybe they'll make a better version of that show for you guys. As long as
it's on Netflix, though. The OG.
Whoever the hell was doing the Thundercats. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, that's weird. But to be fair, I didn't really care for I didn't like the relaunch either because it was Lion-O as a teen.
Yeah.
And I want Lion-O as a full-grown badass lion man.
How do you like him as a little chibi idiot?
Whatever. Like, I won't watch it. That's all that it means. I just won't. Like, I'm not interested.
Yeah. How about the main artist, dude, writer guy, whatever, said he someone was giving him crap online on Twitter, and he says, I didn't even like the original show. I hated the original show, and it's gonna be better now. Like, really?
What's his opinion? Really? But why even use the license then at that point?
Yeah, exactly. Like, why would they hire someone who hates the show to work on the show? No wonder it looks like that.
Yeah, it is goofy and weird and whatever.
Yeah, and it's also cheaply made. Apparently, they're not even really doing the animation themselves. There's some technique I didn't know about. Yeah. They just design the characters, and you see how well designed those characters were. I mean, they're not even going to give Rick and Morty a run for their money. And some things in Rick and Morty are animated well, but I'm talking about like Rick and Morty themselves, how terrible they look. Like,
but that's intentional. That's
yeah. Well, this one's intentional too.
Yeah,
but these guys look even worse than that. These are like South Park level animation here.
Yeah, but
and that was done with pieces of cardboard.
Yeah, but as kids, look at how terrible the animation was that we loved when we were kids. Like, kids don't care. Is it going to be for kids?
Yes, I think they will care. I think that in 20 years, these kids won't. No one's going to look back and say, "Hey, you remember that Thundercat show?"
That's not why you make cartoons, though. You make cartoons so you can sell ads, and these kids will watch these shows
and toys and video games now. Who the hell is going to buy? Who would want to buy that? No, I don't think these kids are going to care about it. I don't think that.
Maybe they won't.
Close. I think
then they'll get canceled. But it won't be because it wasn't true to the regular Thundercats.
I know you're saying that in 20, who cares in 20 years they don't make them for that, but I think they do make it for that. It not specifically, but that if you do make something that is so memorable, Ninja Turtles, right? Ninja Turtles animated cartoon.
Oh, sure.
The reason that sold so many toys, the reason that turned into a bunch of merchandise, movies, all kinds of crazy stuff was because it was so good. Like, that was a really good show for kids back in the day.
Yeah.
And did the new Ninja Turtles, is the new Ninja Turtles selling crazy amounts of merchandise? I guarantee it isn't. I don't hear kids. I kids will mention it when they're watching it.
Okay,
but I haven't heard any kid ever talk about these new poorly animated Ninja Turtles.
That's fair. All right, but let me ask you this way then. Okay. So if you go back and you look at some of the cartoons we've just mentioned, right? You have He-Man, you have She-Ra, you look at the Ghostbusters, you look at Thundercats, and they all have a really similar kind of art style vibe. So since there's a lot of, the way that they drew, come on, compared to the way that they draw humans now, like at least they tried to make them look like people back then. There is way more, cartooniness to it. There's more rounder edges and whatnot. So this style does fit in with more of the current slot of the way that animation looks. It fits in with what kids are used to right now.
I don't think so. I think that
you don't think that
no, I think
that
look
those
like
old
action
80s cartoons had a slight like
the slight
gem, and you don't think that those were kind of all in the same pocket the way that this is in the same pocket as Adventure Time?
I think the art style was different but similar, and I think the similarity that you were seeing is probably because it was supposed to look almost like the action figures that they were planning on selling. If you notice, like He-Man looked a lot like his action figure.
but doesn't that
animated in a way where he would do his things? I think that thing where he lifts up his sword was very deliberate, because like that's a very easy thing to do with your action
Thundercats did it,
figure,
He-Man
right?
did it, absolutely.
But what kind of action figures are you going to sell with this thing?
Or you can sell video games, you can sell T-shirts, you can sell hats, you can sell underwear, you can sell socks. You can sell lunch pails, folders, crayons, like all. I'm telling you, but it feels. Those cartoons felt like they had a genre or an era to them. This feels like this is this kind of era's stuff.
I don't buy it, man. Do you know what I hear kids talking about now?
What's that?
I've only heard them talking about one cartoon when they're not watching it. Rick and Morty.
Kids?
That's it. And that's not even a kid's show.
Little kids watch it?
That is the only thing I've heard any children talking about as far as new cartoons, except for movies. Now, Disney movies and stuff like that, and Pixar, and those movies they'll talk about like for crazy amounts. But like,
I think I spend more time around younger children with. Do you, a lot of your friends have, 4 and 5 year olds?
Not 4 or 5 anymore, but
and I think that's
when
what
you're talking about SpongeBob quality stuff, and SpongeBob is something that kids who grew up on SpongeBob remember and love, love to this very day. I haven't really seen any SpongeBob, but I've seen enough to know that the animation quality in SpongeBob is light years ahead of whatever this new stuff is, and it's still that goofy style that you're talking about, and it still looks way better than Thundercats.
I don't know if it's. I feel like it has its own slot there as well, as far as like the 2000s style artwork, because SpongeBob's been on for a long time, but it doesn't matter. Like they're going to be, if the show is good and the kids watch it, they will like it in 20 years, and if it's garbage, they'll be like, oh, that was a garbage Thundercats thing. You remember that? And then someone will be shocked that it was even from the 80s. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, I've heard kids talk about, not recently, but kids were talking about Adventure Time, and that was a goofy looking one, right? But but it was like, it was.
I don't know. I guess I'm around younger children, and I think that they would like it.
Yeah, but Adventure Time was like a quality cartoon, though, I thought.
Yeah, it is. But a 6-year-old's not going to be able to decipher that.
Yeah,
their target audience is not caring about people like us that like the original stuff. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
I get.
Don't get so worked up, Xearrik. It's just a shitty cartoon remake. You just have to go watch the old Thundercats.
It wasn't just
better toys.
How about when it was announced, Mike Matei changed his Twitter to nothing. Like he set a line. He lined up and stacked them like 3 or 4 deep, I think, all of his action figures from
Thundercats.
I can't even speak. Yeah, Thundercats. And that was like, he just had that as his, I don't even know, it still might be that
Mike Matei banner or whatever.
Yeah.
So okay, well, we got distracted about Thundercats. So Dumbez also says Zelda 2 Part 2, yes. Like a Super Mario USA 2 Part 2 would be great. What?
Oh no, his thumbnail. He's changed it. Not his banner. He's got some custom art made.
Okay.
It's not the toys anymore. It's the sword. It's the sword, and it has like the Twitch logo and some other stuff going on. It says Mike Matei and that really interesting looking cool art and all that. But it's totally, yeah. Look at the sword. He has the sword. With it has the eye in it and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it's the original Thundercats. Yeah, he knows where it's at. But then Dumbass also says, check out Re-Res NES exercise bike video. It's a really good episode. He says Re-Res, awesome video. Videos are awesome. I like Re-Res. I know who he is. I've seen him a bunch on Retroware TV through those guys. You know who that is, Re-Res? You might recognize him.
Sound familiar.
He seems pretty
Re-Res.
cool. And then also, poor Dumbass, he says, talking about more stuff we don't get in Canada, we never had this awesome Best Buy Gamers Club, which is going away, so now we're like Canadians.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, Xearrik, that's going to be it for the show this week.
Yeah, sorry for making it so long.
It's again. All right. It's all good, man. You got passion. And so I just need to reel it in so I can go to bed on time. That's all.
Oh, I remember there we had goofy looking stuff back then too. I just remembered like Mickey Mouse was goofy looking and Ren and Stimpy looked weird and goofy and
sure. And I'm just saying that but there are like 70s cartoons have a vibe to me. You know, like Hanna-Barbera stuff, like, you know, Yogi Bear and the Wacky Racers and all of that.
Yeah,
like
Donald Duck
and the Disney ones kind of had a slot for me. You had the Nickelodeon that had the Ren and Stimpy and the Rocco and hey, I don't know. I don't know. Like once you're far enough
the
away,
Simpsons
with everything Matt Groening or whatever did. I don't know. I feel like it's maybe just fitting in there, and it's a weird pairing. And I understand people being upset and annoyed by it, and it just means I'm not going to watch it. The kind of a thing. Like, I've accepted the fact that
were terrible looking, but it was still good.
But that counts, you know, Johnny Bravo, like that early Dexter's Laboratory. I don't know. They have these like eras.
But see if they were going to remake one of those shows, I would expect the art to stay in that odder type of art, right?
Sure.
Like, you know, Flintstones has its own little art style to it, right? And it looks weird.
Yeah, even in the 80s when they did the kids version, it still felt like way more true and inspired. Like I don't disagree with any of that. But
Thundercats is a different beast, man.
It is. Nice pun. Nice pun. Bravo. So, all right, cool. I do want to bring attention our buddy Spruik, who has we've featured on the show before from an artistic standpoint. He's a musician. He's a computer engineer by day, but he also does a lot of music stuff. He writes music and he DJs and all that. He has a Corridors of Time song that he did. It's like an 8-bit demake of Chrono Trigger, and he had his friend Laura, who he's done an EP with, do vocals over it. And it's beautiful. It's very good. So anyways, he just released a new chiptune album about a month ago. It's called A Chip in the Workday. That's the name of the album. It's free on YouTube and all that, but also you can stream it on iTunes, Google Play, Amazon MP3, and all of that. And the song I'm going to feature this week, I haven't featured an MP3 in a while on our podcast, but this is my favorite song on the album. It's Monday Morning Meeting, and it's just great. I don't know. It's fun chiptune. And Spruik's a really nice guy. His name's Bill. And we've known him for quite a long time. He reached out to us on Twitter, and we said, sure, man, I'll definitely take a look at the album. It's very fun, very good to listen to. What I'll have I'll have something embedded in our show notes. It might be the YouTube playlist so that you can just go and check out all of it. But, yeah, it's good stuff. And also I want to thank Ben Landis for letting us use this song Through the Forest as our intro music. Our entire catalog is available at our website, classicleet.com. The 20 or so most recent episodes are available at all the podcast services that you like. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, all of that. Xearrik, I just found out the app that I use is called Podcast Addict, and they started publishing their subscriber stuff for the app. So I was very proud. We have 700 subscribers in that app, or 750 subscribers in that app. So that was nice. I felt good because podcasts aren't. Yeah. I mean, there are some huge podcasts, but for a tiny one like ours, I was really proud of that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I wonder if there are other apps, like maybe we have 1,000 or so a week. I don't know. But shout out to Podcast Addict for publishing that, because stats and podcasts are the most like impossible thing in the world to try to validate. So yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Oh man. I'm frustrated myself. I thought of a great argument, but I don't want to make the podcast even longer.
Yeah, we're done. All right, Xearrik, guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what?
It's over.
You're right. You win.
No. It's not about being right like that. It's just, oh man,
it's the only way to end it. It's the only way that I can get you to say it, to not say it.
I wouldn't want Dexter's Laboratory to look like a super hyper realistic thing. I'd want it to be goofy.
That would be the only way it could go.
And that's the same thing with Thundercats. Thundercats is supposed to be goofy and stupid. It's supposed to look a little bit more realistic.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, so you're not going to watch it.
That's the frustrating part of it.
Probably going to be bad. Yes, they're wasting a really cool IP on some garbage.
Whatever. We'll be here for 4 more hours.
I know we can't. I would love to debate with you about, or even just discuss it, because I love chatting with you about this kind of stuff.
Inviting me makes these episodes so long. Sorry.
No, not we're at 2:15. It's fine. I'm sure it'll be a long one when Dustin gets back.
Yeah, and here I just finished like a freaking 6-something hours stream.
I know, man. That's why the words were getting tough for you there. So, all right. And if you would like to interact with us, we are active on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud. And also, quick reminder for Amazon links, if you'd like to support the show, they are in the descriptions. And I want to thank chat very much for hanging out. Vepper, Jim Kickass Gamer, Pearl Plens, DivX. I'm sorry. I don't know if he likes me pronouncing that all the way through or not. Alex, good to see you. Of course, our good friend Brian Trusty, old-time listener, and GameCuber7. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Xearrik, any final thoughts other than Thundercats? Any?
No, I don't. Nothing that I can think that wouldn't extend the conversation. So, yeah, it was fun hanging out.
Thank you very much,
There's
man.
A fun thought.
There we go. On Twitter, you can follow Xearrik at PSNXEAR, and look on YouTube for his gaming channel. It's awesome. It's XEARRIK gaming channel. So, yeah, everyone, thank you very much for listening to episode 274 of the Classic Elite Podcast. And we'll see you hopefully next week for episode 275.
Boosh. I had to change to something different.
Amazing. I was like, is he going to do it? And I held back. So, awesome.
I had to wait for it to load.
You timed it well. So. All right, hey chat, I'm gonna shut the stream down. Thank you again for everybody hanging out. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you next week, hopefully. All right.